Overcast Friday morning here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is second round coverage of the Indy Women in Tech Championship from Brickyard Crossing, designed by Indiana native Pete Dye. Had a 10 under par 62 on day one, turned in by Lizette Salas, but today, after a 1 hour delay at the start of play this morning, Nasa Hataoka, 6 top 10 finishes, including a victory in Arkansas. She's 3 under par through her first 7. Lizette Salas even through her first 5 holes. Danielle Kang is alone in third place. Paula Rito from South Africa, who missed 13 consecutive cuts until playing the weekend in Toledo, is having a nice week, tied for 9th. Tadapa Suwanapura won that event in Toledo, the marathon, her first victory. Low scores, just ideal conditions for going low. Grant Boone, Karen Stupples, Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz, Kay Cockrell with you wherever you are around the world. Glad you're with us for this extra hour of coverage from the Indy Women in Tech Championship, driven by Group 1001. We're at the 16th, the par 4, one of the 4 holes inside the speedway here, Karen, and this was Danielle Kang just a moment ago. This hole fooled some players yesterday.
It did, and they had problems hitting the fairway. It was no problem for Danielle, and because of it being lift, clean and play, she was able to give herself a perfect lie and hit a very good shot in there.
Back one to the 15th, Tom Abbott.
This is the overnight leader, Lizette Salas, for a par. And it's well hold from Lizette, playing her first 9. We had a bit of a delay this morning because of thunderstorms that were in the area, and it's pretty wet out there, but the course drains very well, and the greens, you would have no idea that we've had so much wet weather this week. To the 6th.
And this is Sung Hyun Park, just a moment ago. She is 3 under in her first 5 holes. She would make that putt for par. Let's get you back into the fairway for the only 3-time winner this year, Ariya Jutanugarn. Jerry Foltz is there.
Yes, this little short par 4. Not a breath of wind in these overcast skies, Grant. Just a layup off the tee, and then, well, a one-handed finish, which looked a little steep, but you never know with Ariya.
Karen, that could be interesting.
Oh, I mean, it literally tried to rebound off that thick rough, and I don't know how she's going to get a club into the back of that ball.
Huh. Maybe belly a wedge, we'll see. Yu Lu. And this is at the 16th, playing with Danielle Kang. We saw Erica Shepard from Indiana. She's a Duke commit. Yu Lu played 1 year for the Blue Devils. Back we go to the 6th. This is Minjee Lee.
Hole placed all the way in the back of this rather narrow but lengthy green. Minjee off to a bit of a slow start, and you get over par early on this course, Karen, and you just get run over.
Particularly,
or more appropriately, you get lapped.
Yes, you do. Particularly on this front side, it seems that everybody is going low out there on that front side today already, and certainly was the case yesterday, where it played just about a shot easier than the back 9.
How would you assess Danielle Kang's 2018 following up her first breakthrough victory, that major championship at the KPMG last year?
Well, she put in a good run in the Bahamas early, and then has kind of fallen a bit flat throughout the middle of the year. But and I think that's primarily a sense of urgency on her part to back up winning the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. It's like you feel like you have to validate the win pretty quickly. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on a player.
To get within 1. We always say, which is the toughest one to win? The next one is always the hardest, isn't it?
That's, well, it is because of the extra pressure that you put on yourself, because you know that you're able to do it. But when it comes down to it, you're still fighting against everybody else out there at the same time too. And the fact that you enjoyed winning so much makes it almost harder to achieve.
7.
Brooke Henderson on the tee. This was a really tough hole yesterday, and the green is just oddly shaped, isn't it, Karen? There's little humps and bumps, and you know, it's typical Pete Dye, really.
There's a lot of greens here that are very much like that. You can get quite lucky sometimes and have some really nice, you know, banking around to get the ball close to the hole.
One more here in the fairway at 6, Pernilla Lindberg.
Looks like just a 9-iron. Aims a little right. Hits a little bit of a pull on that, but that started off right at it and stayed there.
Move up a couple to the 8th and say hello to Kay Cockrell watching Paula Creamer.
Hitting her second with a 5-wood into this very difficult hole, and that a big pull hook. This hole derailed Paula yesterday. She doubled it and followed up this hole with a bogey at 9, so a tough stretch for her yesterday. And maybe that pull, Karen, was a result of trying to stay away from that hazard.
Yeah, it can definitely play into a player's mind, and Paula's going to have to go fairly low the rest of the way around, Kay. Current cut was at 2 under par last time I looked.
Well, this is Nasa Hataoka, our leader by 1.
A rather brave drive, taking it down that right-hand side. But she's been extremely accurate today, playing beautiful golf so far.
Brave or maybe fortunate or maybe both. We see that other ball there. Is that Sandra Gall's second?
It was. She kind of pulled her second shot a little, and it released down towards the hole with a beautiful birdie opportunity upcoming.
This was the toughest hole on the course last year. Karen and Jerry, it strikes me that Pernilla would be going through some of what you discussed that Danielle Kang has experienced in the year since she won the KPMG. Pernilla, of course, won the ANA.
Well, exactly, and you know, Jerry, you've watched a lot of Pernilla play this year. I mean, she hasn't really played that much different. I think at the ANA it was her putting that really set her apart, and I think she's one of those putters that can be a bit streaky, wouldn't you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I think the whole difference has just been confidence. She's obviously putting together her best season as a professional, and I think a lot of that just comes from the confidence she got from the ANA. I mean, she's one of the young ladies that when you look at the odds makers' odds at the beginning of each week, it's much higher than it ever was previous years. A lot of smart money bet on Pernilla.
Especially when you see her making putts like that.
The lead is -11. She moves to -7. As Karen said, the current cut line is 2 under. 7.
Sun Hyun Park out of the bunker at the par 3, and this is one of the difficulties of this hole, the water and the sand around the green, and it's wet, thick sand, as you could see from how hard she hit that. That might even have been plugged.
There was quite a bit of a backup on this hole yesterday, Tom. A lot of players were waiting on the tee, but they've moved the tee up today, so it's playing 150 yards as opposed to the scorecard judges of 183.
Good look at the 16th, and one off the lead, Lizette Salas. Asking for it to go. The whole location was up front and right yesterday, and a number of players came up well short of the green at this 16th. Tied her career low with that 62 yesterday. 7.
And Brooke Henderson has this for birdie, putting together a nice round today, already 2 under for the day. And this was the part of the golf course that she played well yesterday, having struggled on the back 9. She started her round from the 10th yesterday, and she was 2 over for the first 9, but then birdied 2, 3, 4, and 6. So she certainly took advantage of the front 9.
All right, so because it's lift clean in place, Jerry, Ari gets a big advantage here, doesn't she?
Yeah, it didn't occur to me at the time, but it would have been almost impossible to make any kind of contact with the back of that ball. And as it is, she gets to move at a club length away from the fringe and an easy birdie.
All right, now, I know it's Friday morning, but let's just kind of put an asterisk by that one. She's now 4 under through 6. And the rules of golf are there to, and the local rules, the tournament rules, they're there to help you. The tour's leader in birdies, Ari Jutanugarn, 7.
Now that was one of those rare, strange circumstances that we see in the game.
But in all fairness, that if you have a club length, and this is one of the beefs I have with using a club length for lift, clean and place, is that you can completely alter the playing characteristics of the shot in hand. You can move it from having the ball above your feet to having a fairly flat lie. You can move it from an upslope to a flat lie. You can change the lie. I mean, a club length is a long distance to move the ball. I much prefer, I used to play it as a kid, scorecard yardage, scorecard distance. However big the scorecard was, that's how long you got to move it.
We're at the 8th, and this is our leader, Nasa Hataoka, trying to increase her lead to 2.
3 birdies so far today, and it would be quite a coup to get another one here. As you mentioned, the hardest hole yesterday. I think, relatively easier hole location today. You could feed it off the mound. That's sort of to the short left of the screen. This putt for Nasa will just gently move left to right and slightly downhill. She's feeling it.
And has all year. It's a remarkable turnaround for Nasa Hataoka after really a poor rookie year.
I think there was a lot of adjustments in that rookie year. She traveled with just her agent. Her mother didn't travel with her. Now her mother is traveling with her as well. And I also think that Sakura Yokomini, another Japanese player, has also been playing well on the LPGA, and I feel like it's eased the pressure off of Nasa a bit, because she really does carry the hopes of a country, because Aimi Azato was that player. She's now retired. They transferred all their hopes onto Nasa, and those were some lofty expectations to place on someone so young.
Without question. 17.
Tadapa Sawanapura knocking that one in. Remember, she's a winner this year on the LPGA Tour. She won the Marathon Classic. Nasa Hataoka with a 2-shot lead here at the Indy Women in Tech Championship. Second round of the Indy Women in Tech Championship. A little wet this morning. Delay to start the day, about an hour. The tee times were pushed back, and we're really hoping that it stays dry for the rest of the day. What do you think, Grant? Is it going to stay dry?
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Area Chitanagar. Karen, just a thought, and Jerry can chime in here too. I'd love to see that birdie at 6 again. It looked like it looked way closer to the hole than where we saw it come to rest.
I can tell you that she and her caddy and the other players all checked, and they all agreed that it wasn't. I think that was just the angle from our camera. 9-iron there.
No suggestion or implication of wrongdoing, just, as you say, just the angle of our cameras, perhaps.
This is Lindy Duncan, second to the 9th. See how wet that was when she struck the ball.
It exploded, didn't it?
And that's a lovely shot from Lindy Duncan. She'll have a chance for a birdie, which will take her out in 1 under, right on the cut line at the moment as we go back to the tee at the 7th. And Lindbergh.
Pernilla going with 6-iron, the same hole where Area just hit 9-iron. There's our first hint of a breeze blowing straight into the players, about a half-club breeze. This is not going to be a big 6-iron.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. You know what it is, Tom?
Go on.
It's, she's our guest on Caddy Knows Best, which all year long has been a good luck charm.
Well, players are lining up to be interviewed by you in Caddy Knows Best. We'll see that a little bit later in our coverage. Quick check of the first page of the leaderboard where Nasa Hataoka has a 2-shot lead. Lizette Salas, the overnight leader after that 62 yesterday. Still waiting to turn on the jets today. And we'll go out to the 17th. This just a moment ago. Pornonong Patlam second. Had such a wonderful week at the Ricoh Women's British Open at Royal Lytham. It wasn't until the 17th hole where things really started to go the wrong way for Patlam, and Georgia Hall pounced. It's a lovely shot there. Great chance for a birdie. Now over to the 7th and Minjee Lee.
Minjee going with a 7-iron. Nice high 7-iron just left of the hole. Looks like the right club too.
Yeah. That movement of the tee makes such a difference. 17th hole, Danielle Kang.
Again, just another short iron. Pull it into this green for Danielle.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Tugging it just a little bit, but that's fine. Now Lindy Duncan for her birdie. Yeah, well done, the 27-year-old Floridian. 61st in the world, Lindy Duncan. And she's had a really good season this year. Sneaky good year. 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th. She's 25th in the race to the CME Globe. So she could break through and win this year. There's no doubt about that. Very much under the radar.
Par 4 16th, Lizette Salas for birdie.
She had in her round yesterday just 22 putts. I mean, you'd expect that from somebody, you know, shooting 10 under par, but it must mean that her approach shots were getting pretty close to the hole as well. And I think if she wants to keep adding to the total, I think she's going to have to think about getting the ball just a little bit closer to the hole than she's done so far today.
To 7.
Players just taking care of business there on the green, which is definitely soft because of the rain. How squelchy is it out there underfoot to Jerry?
Sorry, Tom, I was in a conversation. It wasn't with you, sorry.
How is it underfoot there? Is it pretty wet?
Well, yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, my cart almost got stuck twice.
You had a pit crew.
Yeah. It is, yeah, it's a little sloppy out here. And quite honestly, it's not the conditions where you would need to play lift clean in place, but they do that because the forecast is for more rain, and we could get puddling water in these fairways quite quickly, and that wouldn't be a mess to complete play if you weren't playing it up.
Brickyard Crossing is a public facility. You can come and play here whenever you want. Gets a lot of play during the season.
Is it 200 rounds a day? Something like that?
I don't think you can play here during
January.
race week or race week. That might not be such a good idea. But yeah, January wouldn't be a good time either.
No.
A little chilly.
Minjee now putt uphill for the first 3 or 4 feet, and you can see a change in color of the grass, meaning there's a slope change going back downhill, down green, and right now a lot more pressure on her to make these length of putts. Once you just miss at the last hole too, when you get off to a slow start, you feel like your back's against the wall.
Well, I mean, the players know how easy the golf course is playing. You know, obviously the scores are going to give them a massive tip as to that fact, but they also know within themselves too what they're capable of, and there's a disappointment in when they don't make those adjustments to the course, or that their game isn't quite up to that challenge, and that was definitely up to the challenge by Danielle right there.
Yeah, good birdie at 17 for Danielle Kang, and she's 10 under par, just a couple back. We don't give her caddy a hard enough time for his man bun.
We should.
We really should. Now,
It's
area.
It's a trend that I hope never really catches on.
I think Tom's just jealous.
He's certainly got more hair than me.
No, not in the back of your head, right in that place where he has his bun. You've got plenty. You could grow it there.
I could do. We consider that. Area not too happy. That putt looked about as good as that man bun.
But Aria's got a proper bun going on.
Oh, goodness.
Now, if Ollie's hair, Danielle Kang's caddy's hair, looked like Aria's,
then he might be struck off the caddy register.
yeah.
Lizette Salas at 16 for par. Okay, one win. We say that when we see Lizette in contention, which is several times a year. And we say it as a compliment, I think, more than anything, because of the esteem that most have for her game.
She won in Kingsmill, and that is a golf course that, much like this course, it's about, you know, you can play to different positions. It's about angles that you have to take off the tee and angles into the green because of where they're sloped.
Lindbergh for birdie. Oh, she had another one there. She thought so too. Tied for 5th at the moment, looking to follow on from that victory at the ANA Inspiration and win again. Not that she needs to validate the major championship victory, but I think it would really settle her down to win again and know that she can do it, and it wasn't just a one-off in the desert at Rancho Mirage. Now Pornong Patlam get to 3 under par. A little bit of daylight between herself and the cut line.
Her driving was crazy good for most of the time at the Ricoh Women's British Open. Rarely missing fairways on fairways that were notoriously difficult to hit, until just at the very end the driver let her down.
Downtown Indianapolis, not too far away from here. It's about a 12-minute drive or so. And they have all of the official vehicles lined up on the infield track there, getting ready for the NASCAR race that is going to be taking place here in less than a month. At the 9th, NASA had to a second shot.
After a beautiful drive, just 129 for her second. And for her, a terrible shot.
Not good. Wow, look how wet it is there on that 9th fairway.
A couple of sprinkler heads are filled with water.
Go to the tee at the 17th. This is one of the holes inside the famed Speedway. This played as a tough hole yesterday. And that's going to be just fine for Lizette. Tough to follow on from a round of 62 with another low round.
People always wonder what the difference is, and for the most part, when you have one of those really low ones, everything seems to go your way. Like, all your numbers tend to be spot on in terms of you don't have to fiddle just a little 9 or a big 9. You can actually go ahead and hit a regular 9 or a regular 8.
At 18, a hole that's going to be moved up at least one day here this weekend, we believe. We've been told. 360 on the card. And Danielle teed off on 10, so this is her 9th hole. An hour delay, as Tom mentioned earlier this morning. Up ahead on the green at 18 here, Tidapa Sawanapura. A lot of confidence. The player whose nickname is Jasmine. She goes to 8 under par. She is tied for 4th place. And to back up that victory a month ago in Toledo, Nasa Hataoka, a breakthrough season for the 19-year-old from Japan. She'll be on the UL International Crown team as well. And this could be an enormous week for a player like Brianna Doe, like Paula Rito, Hannah Green. There are just 2 more full field events after this week. Next week in Canada, Canadian Open. And there's your defending champion of that event, Sung Hyun Park. And then Portland the week after. 3 under on her round so far. Sung Hyun Park, number 9 in the race to the CME Globe. Has to get to 8 under. Not enough club.
Something that she's not known for, being short.
Good point.
Long off the tee.
To the 9th.
See what Nasser is going to do here.
Yeah, the good news is that was a great place to miss it. Certainly, she ought to be able to get this up and in pretty easily and maybe even chip it in.
Yeah, simple. And that'll be an easy par for the Japanese star. She's just going to tap that one in. At the beginning of the year, you always wonder who's going to have a great season, and there are always surprise packages, and I think Nasser is certainly the surprise package of 2018. Not sure too many people predicted it was going to be a fabulous year on the LPGA for Nasser. Now to 8.
And we, contrary to Nasser, everyone was predicting Moria Jatanagarn would have a big year, as she's had before. Now has her first win. Low scores on day 1. Golf course played nearly 2 strokes under its par of 72, and we're seeing more low scores today. Lift, clean, and place in effect because of the rain we've already had, because of the rain that's in the forecast. Nasa Hataoka is 4 under, and we are at the 9th hole.
Sandra Gahl for a par.
Yeah, drove it in the right rough. Her second came up short of the green. Poor chip. And that's giving one back after making a very nice birdie on the last hole.
A birdie putt at the 16th for Caroline Masson. Miriam Lee looks mighty close and quite interested in Masson's putt.
Well, that will give her a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. So she's going to remark. Masson has given herself a couple of good chances to win this year. I go back to the Meyer in Grand Rapids, Michigan. 17.
Second shot for Lizette Salas. Struggling with a hand injury, and she said after her round yesterday she was really just happy to finish the day, which was pretty surprising considering she was leading. She's going to have an outside chance for birdie, just asking for it to stay there on the edge of the green. Can run away off the side of the slope there, but the golf course very soft. Let's go to the 8th.
Brooke Henderson has a birdie putt. The cut line is -2. It's a week, Tom, when you go into it knowing you got to go low.
Paula Creamer for a birdie.
Made an incredible up and down at the last hole to save par. This to get things back to even.
Yeah, as you say, a week where you have to go low, and Paula is still over par and isn't in for par on the 9th hole. So the struggles continue for Paula, who did not qualify for the Rico Women's British Open. Didn't make it. She was the first alternate.
We're at the 8th. Toughest hole yesterday, toughest hole, Jerry, last year, and it's just about as pretty a picture as you could paint.
Yeah, and it's, well, you have the hazard just off the right side of the fairway and the right edge of the green, which I'm sure adds to the stroke average, but overall, it's not the most difficult hole. Generous fairway, good size green. 6 iron from 165 there for Minjee. A little left of the flagstick.
Number 2 in the race to the CME Globe this year behind Ariya Jatanagarn is Minjee Lee. 17.
Yanni Sen. There's still moments of greatness from Yanni Sen. And there's one of them. And she's back to 2 under par and battling to make the cut. You always scratch your head and wonder what has happened to Yanni Sen. She was such a dominant player, what, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And she was able to do that on command back then. Now, just lost her way. But there are still great moments for Yanni. Maybe one day she'll be able to get back to where she was.
A few glimpses here and there this season for Yanni we've seen, but certainly, given how high she reached, totally different. Danielle Kang, 9th hole of the day, having a nice week, tied for 2nd. Made a putt of about that length just a moment ago.
Lizette Salas for a birdie at the 17th.
Got quite a bit of movement to this putt. You can see she's aiming a good sort of 3 feet out to the right of the hole. Just a steady par.
Yeah, and this is traditionally the tougher 9. Just wants to put a solid round together and be able to attack for the weekend. You don't want to sort of fall back today and not be able to be in contention.
The approach at 8 for Ariya Jutanugarn, another one-handed follow-through.
Yeah, that was an easy 7-iron from 164. Her bad shots are still pretty good.
I was going to say, you know, that's a foot or two away from rolling down that hill. 17.
Bronte Law for a birdie to get to 3 under. Okay. Still waiting for her to put in a really solid performance and challenge.
She keeps kind of knocking on the door for having good results. She's been really consistent. You know, she's one of those players that you can pretty much guarantee that she'll make the cuts. And you know, now I've said that, she's you know, she's still got 9 holes to go, but she's just solid in that regard. But you're saying, you know, she needs like a Lizette Salas round, a 62 or a 63, just to put her right there at the top of the leaderboard, and it takes the pressure off if you can put a really low one in.
Angel Yin, one of the afternoon starters, their tee time's delayed an hour. They should still finish as long as we don't have another delay later in the day. Lydia Ko among those players playing this afternoon. She will look for a good day. Caroline Hedwall enjoyed 2 days in Venice after the Rico Women's British Open. Took a little holiday with her sister, then went back to Sweden. A little practice, a bit of rest before coming back to the US. Try and make some money and maybe win a title at the Indy Women in Tech Championship. A run of 3 events here in North America for the LPGA Tour in this little swing. This week here in Indianapolis. Next week we go to Saskatchewan, and the following week is Portland, the Cambia Portland Classic.
As we're watching Pernilla Lindberg here at 8, Jerry, update us on her.
Well, you said it's the hardest hole on the course all day yesterday, all year last year. Pernilla just slightly fanned a little 5-iron that on most holes would have probably caught the edge of the green or been in a bunker, and she found the middle of the hazard. So she's taking a penalty drop, 2 club lengths from the margin of the hazard, and we'll be playing her 4th. Not a difficult up and down to try and save bogey. The 2 club lengths got her to the fairway, and she would now be entitled to live clean and move that a whole nother club length if she so chose.
It would also be a way for her to wide penny.
Even though playing it square should No, I mean, it's gonna.
It needs to land
To
like
wipe.
halfway between the front and the holder.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm going to release it and then
No, that's right.
Wipe any of the water on the ball that might get in the way of the ball and the club face and affect contact. But chose not to, Jerry, huh?
Yeah, I didn't see her remark it. Good shot.
She's about middle of the pack on LPGA Tour and scrambling. That's a good one. She'll have that for bogey. At the 18th, Yu Lu, 9th hole of the day. Well, how do you do, Yu Lu? So Yanni holes out for an eagle. Yu Lu holes out for birdie. 2, 3, 4. Okay. 3 hopper.
Pretty impressive.
Hataoka leads it by 2. Danielle Kang trying to creep a little bit closer. Just saw Yulu pitch in for birdie. Now she's got this roll to get to 11 under.
Really extended follow through on that putt. Just looked like she tried to force that one just a bit through impact.
Solid opening 9 though for Kang, who will now go outside the speedway, leaving the 18, 15 through 18 inside the oval. 10 birdies, no bogeys. We're at the 8th, and Ariya Jutanugarn for birdie.
It's going to hit this like it's about a 3-footer at the most. Straight down cliff, turning a little right. It'll take a while.
Worth the wait. Oh! All right, so a pair of one-handed follow-throughs that we've seen, and she's made birdie on each occasion.
It is absolutely the great leveler, the putter. Just makes all mistakes vanish and can turn an average round into a great round.
It's an amazing combination. Her power doesn't even hit driver very often, and the best putter on tour, Ariya Jutanugarn. All right, so our players in the morning wave who had a 1-hour delay, as will the players later. Many of them making the turn or close or having just done it. Paula Rito is in the second group out. She's 4 under, and she's trying to make her second straight cut and get some much needed cash as the season winds down for those players who are not fully exempt or who are not eligible for some of those events in Asia. Brianna Doe's best career finish in 60 events is a tie for 25th. She's in that group at 7 under, tied for 6th at the moment. Boy, it was a really wet and soggy spring and early summer on the LPGA Tour. Got a bogey putt here for Pernilla Lindberg in the hazard. Trying to get up and down for a 5 on the par 4.
And it's important to save as many shots as you possibly can. Double bogeys really are a scorecard killer. You can always make up a bogey with another birdie, but every time you have a double, that means you've got to make 2 more birdies.
And you're really only losing about a half a shot with the bogey of the 8th.
Oh, we're leaving a little right of that. It's fine. Just a normal, mate. A little bit breeze into, so.
Bronte Law at 18. We'll keep reminding you, lift clean in place. So you hit the fairway, anything around a closely mown area, you can pick it up, clean it, put it back.
Sit. Sit.
Well done.
Footer. Fascinating to watch how Bronte Law plays after Georgia Hall's victory. Sometimes a player you've known, you've watched, you've played against, they win, and then see what happens with your game.
2 completely different paths, though, in how they've taken to get to LPGA Tour.
Right. U.S. college.
Georgia Hall turned pro at 16, or didn't turn pro at 16, but left school at 16 to pursue golf. Turned pro, played on the Ladies European Tour, and then consequently, after a successful Solheim Cup, came out, got an LPGA Tour card. Things haven't come easy for Georgia. She made that decision because financially it was a tough deal for her playing golf, and she needed to make money. Bronte, she got a scholarship to American University. She played at UCLA, and consequently, I think that because of that move coming out here to UCLA to college, I think she's going to be more successful on the LPGA.
This is the 9th.
Yeah, just needing a little bit more mustard on that one from Brooke Henderson, and she's going to make a par. Good first 9, 2 under. Moves her to 4 under for the week. As we mentioned yesterday, it's been a tough time away from the golf course with the death of 2 grandparents over the summer. So I'm sure a lot on her mind. Now Maury Jutanagan. Just to get to 6 under par.
And you mentioned yesterday, Tom, that she made a coaching change to somebody from Woburn.
Chris Mason.
And I find that fascinating that, she's based herself in Florida. She has a home there, and she has her coach is in the UK.
Looks like he's going to be having to do a lot of traveling. He was here this week. He coaches, I think, 9 players on the LPGA Tour now. And so he's going to be back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah.
And out to Asia, I'm sure. Oh, that looked really good for a long time. Home last week in Orlando, where Moria does the cooking, I'm told. Aria does not, and Mum doesn't do a lot of cooking, so Moria is the chef when they're home. And she's a dab hand in the kitchen, so we're told. We haven't had the invite yet. We did get invited one year to Yanni Sen's house to celebrate her great season, and she came out of her bedroom down the stairs dressed as Harry Potter, which caught everybody off guard.
Oh, I guess
was that when the downturn started?
It might have been.
A curse on
she might have put a spell on herself. Sun Hyun Park now for birdie.
And then you went outside for a game of Quidditch.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah. That's about the extent of my Harry Potter.
Yeah, I can't say I've read many. I haven't read any of the books.
Okay.
But I've certainly been to the Harry Potter world at Universal Orlando, which is well worth going to if you haven't been. It's fantastic.
This is our leader, Nasa Hataoka. I went to the one actually outside London where they did all the filming. It's brilliant. And yes, I'm a nerd, and that's okay.
Grant, I read all the books, and I just started rewatching the movies during my couple weeks off.
All right, let's see what NASA can do with the wand here.
She walked all the way up to the green. Oh, just stubbed that one. That leading edge right into the ground. Fat.
We saw So-Yeon Yu do that at 16 yesterday.
So easy to do when you have these moist fairways that are tightly cut. Just shows you, Karen, no one's exempt from a few mistakes now and again.
No, and the comfort zone shot is to keep the hands forward, to make sure that you don't hit it fat.
Yeah.
And you keep the hands forward, everything comes out a bit lower. The trouble is, when you're playing on sort of the grass that is a bit grainy, nice effort by Yanni, when the grass is a bit grainy and wet, the leading edge wants to dig more if you're holding your hands forward. Ultimately, if you can open that club up just a little bit, take more club, maybe take a pitching wedge or instead of a lob wedge, but open it up more, it's going to bounce more into the turf and not dig. So there you go. Do that at home.
You're looking at me when you say that.
I don't know
Thinking
why.
back to yesterday.
You had a couple that were.
After the broadcast. Well, Yanni didn't make it from the fairway at 18 like she did at 17, and it's been a bit of a pain in the neck. She's got the KT tape on the nape, and she lived down for birdie. All right, got the race car there beyond the 18th. Bronte Law lurking and waiting her turn. Lizette Salas looked a bit quizzically at her shot as it was in the air. Drifted a little further right than she was hoping, but she's got this for birdie to get to 11 under. Eight birdies and an eagle yesterday, all pars today so far through 8 holes.
Very simple looking putting stroke. Not a great deal of moving parts, and I really like how she puts the club behind the ball to start with and then gets settled over it.
To the first.
Danielle Kang approach to this par 4. That's going to leave her a great chance for a birdie. The 9th, Minjee Lee second.
128 yards away. Very flat shot, flat lie. Pitching wedge. Good full one for Minjee.
Maybe a little disappointed with that pitching wedge. She'd like to be within a very short birdie range of the hole. No, area.
Area just 123 yards from the hole. This her gap wedge, 50 degrees. See if she holds onto the club.
No. That's okay though for a one-handed finish.
Lines are good going back in good position. Transfer. Throws the club at the ball. Plenty of divot. I mean, she has completed her swing before she's actually let go of the club.
It's almost just habit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes throws us off. We think it's a bad result, but in actual fact, it's just fine. It's become a bit of a trademark for Arya Jutanagan, who is 5 shots back, but on that first page of the leaderboard here at the Indy Women in Tech Championship. Paula Rito's going along well today. 5 under through 13. She's had a really tough season, Paula Rito, and we've talked about players who have very little time left to either make it to the Q Series or get inside the top 100 on the money list to guarantee that they will be straight back out here next year and not have to go back to the Symetra Tour. And Paula Rito, one of those players who needs a really good week.
Just a moment ago, a birdie pitch shot or chip shot for Nasa Hataoka.
Yeah, basically a 33-foot shot, and
Whoa.
that was a bit surprising.
It was a moment ago, and now live for her par. Just couldn't have hardly been in a better position in 2 shots.
Yeah, or, well, maybe Karen, though, that layup was a little too short, and you know, had that kind of awkward 50-yard shot off that soft turf. But I was a bit surprised to see her do almost the same thing with a pretty straightforward chip and run shot.
I think most players these days, Kay, just automatically go straight for a lob wedge and or even a gap wedge that, you know, sometimes I think they'd be better off maybe with a 9-iron or an 8-iron even, and just keeping it on the ground a little more, and that way you don't have that leading edge dig so much.
One along Patlam for a birdie at the first. Tough to predict what the cut's going to be, but it's moving right now towards 3 under par. Indy Women in Tech Championship, the second playing of this event, brand new for 2017. And they have played LPGA tournament golf before here at this venue, but this is a brand new concept for the LPGA Tour, and it's one that's been very successful. Now, Pernilla Lindberg at the 9th, just easing that one down. Talked about Maury Jutanagan being a good chef. Pernilla Lindberg is really into her health food, and she is a wonderful chef when it comes to vegan and vegetarian cuisine, which is exciting for some, bland for others. Now, Danielle Kang. Get to 11 under par, tie the lead.
Lifts the putter off the ground before she takes it back. Creates a smooth stroke.
That was a really good opportunity there for Danielle to move into a tie for the lead as she looks to win for the 2nd time on the LPGA Tour and follow on from that victory last year at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Olympia Fields, where she battled Brooke Henderson all the way down to the very end. Nasa.
Going with the fairway wood, taking it down that right-hand side to open things up for the 2nd. Not a long hole, more about precision and placement on this par 4.
Back to Area Jutanagan for birdie at number 9.
Currently leading the LPGA Tour, Tom, in a very impressive statistical category. That is birdies per one-handed finish in regulation.
Just add another number 1 ranking to a number of categories she has this year.
And another stat that's unusual, 5 drivers she hit yesterday, and none yet today, but her caddy expects her to hit one on the very next hole. And she hit it well. Evidently all day yesterday.
Well, we've talked about it a lot, haven't we? Once she gets to a point where she's comfortable hitting that driver regularly and being able to use it and do what she wants with it, then she could be a very, very difficult to beat. And think about how far she drives the ball, and she will be just tearing these holes apart.
Well, just to give you an idea, on a golf course with 0 roll, her driving distance yesterday was 302.5 yards.
She doesn't even need to hit the driver to be the longest player on tour.
No, this golf course, there's no roll. She's not getting anything out of it. 302 yards, 302.5 yards.
We're coming off a week where we had Emily Tubert, an LPGA member, winning the Tennessee Big Shots in the Volvo World Long Drive Championship. Maybe we should put Area out there.
Well, I mean, we can talk to Jerry about that when we come back to him, but he's obviously paid close attention to those long driving. He follows them and does the tour with them.
Casper got any more golf tournaments?
He's coming in the national cup.
Well, I meant for his work.
Oh. I don't know.
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Didn't go that far. Oh yeah, he went to golf course. Years ago. He's gonna come out international.
Does he have to work? He's working. Uh-oh. You gotta clean your hat now.
New hat.
About time. He can start paying. He's got a job. He can start paying for his tickets.
There he is. How are we doing? There it is. Living the dream. That's right. Good. And you're just in time. Here they come.
Oh, right behind me?
Well, I wouldn't say right behind you, but behind you.
But they're on their way.
Kind of. It's warm, that's for sure.
Yeah. Are these players' tees or are these markers?
I have no idea.
We're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the ladies started their engines an hour late because of some rain and the threat of some storms in the area. But we are underway, round 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship from Brickyard Crossing Golf Course here in Indianapolis. Grant Boone, Karen Stupples watching former #1 Yanni Sen at the 17th hole, her approach.
And she has been showing some signs of brilliance. And this one, it's very brilliant.
And that took her to 2 under par. That's the current cut line as we play day 2 of 4 here in Indianapolis. Last year it was a 3-round event. Danielle Kang, she won last year the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. She's had some strong finishes, especially the first half of the year. And that birdie at the 14th hole would take her to 9 under par and get her within 3 at the 17th hole to go to 10 under.
And a really good, smooth-looking stroke. Looking really confident on these greens today.
Bogey-free, 10 birdies, no bogeys for Danielle Kang. Nasa Hataoka, you see number 7 in the race to the CME Globe. And she buries that birdie putt at the 8th, the toughest hole on the course. At the same 8th hole. Look at Arya Chatanagarn, slow start.
Barely getting that ball to move at the start, but accelerating down and into the hole. And she hated the approach to the green, but she's going to love that putt.
We're now live at the 11th, and Nasa Hataoka, who bogeyed the 10th hole, the par 5. She had a couple of wedge shots a little heavy, and so her lead is down to 1, and she taps in there for par at the 11th hole. 19 years old from Japan, tough first year, but Nasa leads it by 1 in a star-studded field. Golf Channel and the LPGA Tour proudly present the season-long race to the CME Globe. From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's second-round coverage of the Indy Women in Tech Championship, driven by Group 1001. Now, the LPGA Tour has been coming here to Indianapolis for more than half a century. 50 years ago this year, the great Mickey Wright picked up the 80th of her 82 career titles. That scoring pagoda, which on Memorial Day weekend is such an iconic spot, is looming over us here at Brickyard Crossing, where the final 4 holes here in the tournament, 15 through 18, are inside the oval. Grant and Karen, joined by Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz, and Kay Cockrell, the 23rd of 32 official money events on the LPGA Tour calendar in 2018. One more major championship to go. We're coming off the last major just a couple of weeks ago, the Rico Women's British Open. It's the par 3 15th, elevated green. This is the second hole. It's Danielle Kang playing lift clean in place for a second straight day.
Yeah, correct. If anything like that, but there's not a breath there, Lee.
Danielle had the 36-hole lead in Singapore earlier this year. Michelle Wee went on to win, her good friend.
Really accessible hole location today on the front left portion of a sort of a bit of a kidney-shaped green. It's 13 on, 11 from the left, so plenty of room to use.
With clean in place in the fairways and in those closely mown areas. We're at the par 5 10th. This is Min Ji Lee, number 2 in the race to the CME Globe. And Jerry Foltz is there following.
Trying to get this there in 2, but I don't think it's going to make it. 226 front, and it's not going to get any roll. I'm not sure she caught all of that one either. Conversely, though, Grant, Area Jutanagarn definitely caught it all with the driver, swung out of her shoes, 201 to the front edge, 212 to the hole. This is a 3-iron off a pretty severe downhill lie. Not an easy shot. Almost always goes right off of this lie.
It's become big news when Area Jutanagarn puts a driver in play this year.
Really nice when she stripes it down the middle like this. Let's start right and going right, and there's a big valley over there.
Another one-handed follow-through. She's done that a lot today and really throughout her career, taking a huge divot with a 3-iron. Another look here, Karen.
Well, with the ball below your feet, you're just trying to, keep your back posture the same, which she does, but she goes down thinking that she has to dig at it a bit. She hits it heavy, and the ball just squirts out to the right into some trouble.
Welcome to Indy Day 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship from the Brickyard. Karen, a couple of ways you can get it done here, as we saw on day 1 when Lizette Salas shot 10 under par 62. She hit all 14 fairways. Lift clean in place, you get a perfect lie. Or you can take it deep like Angel Yin. A couple of different ways to get it done.
Well, and that's the beauty of how this golf course has been designed and how the LPGA have set it up. That it's a fair test for just about everybody. Obviously, the longer players have the advantage going into those par 5s in 2s. Some are reachable, some are not. But because the par 4s, many of them are under 400 yards, the shorter players are also having an opportunity to go into the greens with a shorter club. Lift clean in place means they have a perfect lie every single time. Soft greens means that they can attack the hole locations that are traditionally quite tough to get to, because a lot of them are on sort of some quite deceptive little slopes, and getting the ball to stop around the hole was hard last year. This year, not the case in these wet conditions.
It's a little gloomy with the weather, but can you overstate how drastically different the conditions are this week compared to the last event these players played, the Ricoh Women's British Open?
No, it's completely polar opposite. I mean, you think about links golf, everything firm, fast, running, having to think about ball releasing on the fairways, ball releasing on the greens, and here everything is stopping dead.
And so when you see a player like Area Jutanagarn who played well there, is playing well here, it tells you a player who's in control of her game, doesn't it?
Well, she's not number 1 in the world for nothing.
Good point. Here's another major champion this year, Pernilla Lindbergh, Jerry.
Laid up with an iron from the fairway, 77 yards to the hole, just a sand wedge, opening the face a little bit. Typically is very precise with these shots, a little right of the hole.
And if you're smart, like Pernilla was there, if you open the club face a little bit more on the sand wedge, obviously it's putting more loft on it, but it also takes a bit of distance off. So you can still put more of a full swing onto it.
Let's get back one to the 9th hole. Tom Abbott.
Nipatsaporn, 21-year-old from Thailand. And boom, Benyapa. A little eagle 2 to finish the front 9. Third year on the LPGA Tour. And she has moved inside the cut line at 3 under. Nice way to do it there. Best finish of the season, tied for 19th at the Volunteers of America Texas Classic.
It's 2 so far, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a few hole outs today. How many more will we have? It's soft. They're just throwing darts out there.
Danielle Kang for birdie and a share of the lead at the second. It's her 11th hole of the day.
But Tom, even though they're throwing darts, you've still got to make the putts afterwards. And that's something that Danielle Kang has done quite nicely so far today.
Enough? Not quite. Won the KPMG Women's PGA Championship last year in the Midwest, Chicagoland area. And she's chasing Nasahata Oka, who shot 64 in that final round to get into that playoff at this year's KPMG, along with So Yeon Yu and the eventual champion Sung Hyun Park. Still bogey free. 10 birdies, nary a bogey. She'll make her way to the third. NASA, a win earlier this year at the Walmart, breaking through for the first time. Today's coverage is brought to you by Indie Women in Tech, CME Group, how the world advances, and by Win Grips, the best grips in golf.
Thanks for your help. I still like that tall pine behind the tent. Yes.
If we have a shot of that river soil sometime later this week, I'd love to see it. Nasa Hataoka, our leader by one on the tee at the 12th. You see number 7 in the race to the CME Globe. Kay Cockrell is there.
Can't see the bottom of the flag stick. It's protected by a mound. That was a 6-iron.
Go. Oh, that's going to get better.
Yeah.
What a breakthrough season, Karen, for Nasa. Just 19 years old.
Well, it's been remarkable, really, and I think that everybody has known that she's had this promise, but to finally break through has been pretty cool to watch.
And quite a breakthrough, Jerry, for Pernilla Lindberg back in April.
Yes, indeed it was. Head-to-head against, well, formerly best player in the world. We do forget it was a 3-person playoff initially, though. Finish on Monday morning, he became a major champion, and still, as we found out in Caddy Knows Best, doesn't watch the celebration, the jump into Poppy's Pond, as often as Daniel would like her to. Of course, he was the star of the jump.
She's a star of Caddy Knows Best, which we'll see later today. 11.
Sanyu Park, second shot. And that's nicely done. Good chance for a birdie there. That will be back-to-back birdies. Move her to 9 under par. Let's go back to the 10th.
Arya Jatanagarn is leading in the Rolex Hanukkah Major Award standings. She finished just a shot out of that playoff at the ANA. Of course, won the playoff at the U.S. Women's Open. It's been a phenomenal year of major championships on the LPGA Tour.
Arya played a phenomenal little pitch shot from the side of the cliff right of the green to get it to here. Not much to this putt. Oh, she knew as soon as she hit it that was not going to find the hole.
No, and it wasn't her usual timing of her routine. She has a very set time that she stands behind the ball, she shrugs her shoulders, she smiles, and then she walks in. Because she had to reset the ball because there was a little bug or something flying around, she rushed it the second time, consequently rushed the putt.
How's her season so far? Pretty good, you say?
Just a little bit.
56th in greens in regulation. We had to show something that wasn't first. But she's the best putter in both categories, which is amazing. Putts per green in regulation and putts per round, which you don't often see. And number 1 in the race to CME Globe.
okay, so 56th in greens. Her scrambling is ridiculous as well. Like she can make saves from places that shouldn't be possible.
3.
Danielle Kang. This par 3 goes back towards the grandstands in turn 3. They're over on the left. There they are. And there are flags on the top of the grandstands there, so you should have no excuse for not knowing where the wind is blowing.
Well, let's take a look at our course setup, brought to you by the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. Quarter century ago, Pete Dye redesigned the Bill Diddle original design. It was known as Speedway Golf Course back there, and Jason Stewart and his crew have been working overtime with the wet conditions.
And it's in really good shape though, considering the amount of play that this golf course gets. The bent grass fairways and the bent grass greens, just a joy for the players to hit balls on and hit balls into the green and to putt. They're stimping at 11.5, but I think with all this this rain and moisture in the atmosphere, they're just rolling just a smidge slower than that.
There's the tee at 15, and you go across the oval and you see holes 1 through 14 for tournament play. A little different configuration if you were to come and play the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course, which you can. It's $110 this time of year. It's a bargain. It's a fun course to play. We're at the second hole, par 5. There's your leaderboard.
Did they hit first?
Lizette Salas, 10 under par 62
Yeah.
to take the overnight lead. Had an eagle here at 2 yesterday, along with 8 birdies to tie her career low.
Well, and has played her front 9, which is the back 9, which is the tougher of the two sides. Fairly, I'd say, boring in relation to how she did yesterday.
Yeah.
It's lots of pars.
10 pars, in fact.
But I think now is the perfect opportunity, with just a little short shot in her hands, to keep advancing up that leaderboard. And that's something you have to do, even though you've had one really good round. On a golf course like this, you cannot sit back and expect that to be just good enough. You've got to keep making birdies.
Let's see how Brandt Snedeker does, following up his 59 at the Wyndham yesterday. It'll be fun to watch. You'll see that on Golf Channel later today. One off the lead at the moment, Salas. Not quite as good as yesterday when she made eagle, but a fine third shot. She'll have that for birdie to tie the lead. One win for Lizette Salas back in 2015. Asahata Oka at 12 for birdie.
Yeah, try to get her first birdie on the back 9. And that pulled down to the left more than she thought.
A left turn. 11.
S.H. Park for her birdie.
She made some changes with this club earlier in the year. She took an inch off of it in length. She changed style. She moved the ball further away. And ever since then, she's been putting fairly well.
Great lover of animals is Sunkyung Park. She says she would be a vet if she weren't a professional golfer. And back home, she has 2 dogs and 2 cats. That's a full-time job looking after that herd.
I don't know, she may have already eaten. So would you just take her to Sid's, or? I guess I could just have her over to our house with Sid reports. It's so funny, they don't let the spectators into the air-conditioned potties, which are still dirty. So we want to walk up, she's like, should have checked my filters. It's like this. It's just about 6 filters. That's why I'm not good at things like this, because it's I get overzealous. too, because otherwise, once you let one person and so on and so forth, right?
13th tee, Nasa Hataoka.
Okay. Yeah.
Looking a little concerned, but that's just absolutely fine. The golf course playing about as long as it could play at the moment, with no run in the fairways. Big advantage for the long hitters as we go over to the third. You couldn't really get two more contrasting venues, could you? The motor speedway and then the tranquility of this golf course, and certainly this little pocket. Danielle Kang for a birdie. There's a couple of missed opportunities she's had now. Missed a good one at the first, and then we'll go to the tee at the 12th.
And we'll see Sung Hyun Park with our top tracer technology at this par 3 today, playing 170.
She can really launch the ball high in the air, but she took a bit off that one. Shot came out a bit lower than we're used to seeing from her, but has left it in a really nice spot on the green to putt from.
Eleventh hole, Mary Chitanagan.
And that was a sand wedge from 101, completely blind shot, massive divot, and a lot of spin.
Yeah, it's a funny hole, this. A big mound down the left side sort of protects the green. You can't even see it, as Jerry says.
Back at the par 5 second. This is the morning wave, and again, they got a 1 hour delay this morning because of storms. Always a difficult decision for the LPGA staff when they're trying to decide about lift, clean, in place or preferred lies. It's not just for what you've already had. It's looking ahead and trying to guess what you're going to get in terms of conditions later on.
It is, and you know, for the most part, when a lot of the golf course is going to be severely impacted in terms of puddles and such like, I think the LPGA will always err on the side of playing lift, clean, and place. As Tom and I were talking just a little while ago, I'm not so much a big fan of the whole club length, because I really feel like it can alter the play-in conditions of the shot in terms of taking it away from the collar of the green, getting the ball closer to the green surface, changing a lie from having to getting basically a flat lie as opposed to having upslope, downslope.
It's a crazy scorecard for Salas, by the way. No birdies after 8 birdies and an eagle yesterday. To 13.
Sandra Gall looking at her second shot.
Sandra really kind of getting on a roll right now. A combination of some good shots in the last 3 holes, plus rolling in some putts. She always seems to have a great roll with the putter, but it's just a matter of whether she's got the speed and the read correct, and she has in the last half hour. 179 yards to that back left hole location today, and it's, I think, kind of a sucker hole location for her coming in with this much club. Probably try to play just a little short right of the flagstick.
4 birdies in the last 5 holes for Sandra.
And she's tugged this one. And that's a bad miss there, short-sided.
That could have plugged Kay in those wet bunkers. Second at the 11th for Pernilla Lindberg. Much better angle here, Jerry.
Yeah, and she can see the flagstick. Driver off the tee, ideal side of the fairway, just 74 yards, another little sand wedge, and a beauty.
Yeah, makes a difference with that confidence. Being able to go with the driver, put it in the position you want, and she's going to have a really good look at birdie.
Miguel Angel Jimenez and golf's legends head to New York as the Charles Schwab Cup race continues at the Dick's Sporting Goods Open tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern on Golf Channel. That's up at Enjoy Golf Club in Endicott, New York, along the southern tier of the Empire State, about 70 miles from Corning, where the LPGA played for so many years.
It's always a fun spot for me, Corning.
Great spot.
I was never able to go to Corning. The tournament went away right as I started working the LPGA.
Great history for Kay Cockrell in Corning.
Yes, so I understand.
Yeah, you missed a good one. That was a fun course to play. A great little small town that was very welcoming of the LPGA.
Good fishing there. Hataoka second.
Whoa, this is a big miss. A pole hook and a bad time for it.
Oh, and she's in that bunker, although that one's not going to plug. Now, area for birdie is 11.
Just a little bit uphill, not much break in it by my read. See if she sticks with that routine that she varied from on the previous hole. Looked more normal.
Yeah.
Such an underrated part of her game. I know we know what the stats are, but she's known as such a long, powerful hitter and a great ball striker, but she is such a good putter. It's a lethal combination.
Yeah, you just can't become the best player in the world without having a really solid putter.
No, you can't. But it's an area that she's had to work on, certainly the psychology of golf. And when we talk about routines and the change that we saw in her routine from the putt where she missed to the putt that she made, psychologists will actually work with players on the timing of routines. They'll stand there with a stopwatch in the practice rounds and on tournament play. Like her psychologist Pia and Lim could be timing it, you know, just to see the difference, because it does affect a lot of things.
Some will use a metronome, and man, that's annoying when you're on the putting green.
Lee Westwood was using one of those in the practice round for the Open in his pocket.
You can get them with earphones, so you can actually put them in your ears, and that way you're not disturbing anybody and you're being courteous to other people. You can get metronome apps on your phone as well, so
go try it. Salas on the tier 3. She was a little worried that was going to go too far. Now she'll be able to move that ball. I would imagine it's going to be on the closely mown area, and just like we saw from area a little earlier in our streaming coverage.
Here's Hannah Green having a nice day of it. She is 4 under for the day, 7 under for the championship. 21-year-old rookie. She's made 80% of her money in the first 5 weeks of the season. Third place in her homeland, where Jin Young Ko was the winner. Nasa Hataoka leads it by 1. She's in a tough spot at 13. We're in a great spot here in India.
picked up a little more now than earlier, huh?
Play fat bottom girls.
Back with Nasa Hataoka, and look at this tough stance from the bunker.
Yeah, her feet out of the bunker. Ball actually sitting well.
That's a pretty good shot there. Obviously the soft conditions help that ball not running away, but she might well have a good chance to get that one up and down and stay leading by one as we go to the 12th.
Sung Hyun Park to get to double digits. Similar putt to what Nasa had. Peeled off at the left, to left at the end. No, she judged it perfectly. 3 in a row. Here she comes. She wasn't having a great year until she won that rain-shortened or weather-shortened event in Texas.
No, she wasn't. And all of a sudden it was like light bulbs go off and she's all singing, all dancing, winning tournaments again. Most impressive one, though, had to be KPMG Women's PGA, where she came through in a playoff with the most remarkable shot from a water hazard just short of the green. It's craziness just to keep herself in with a chance.
Amazing. 13.
Sandra Gall is roaming around the green here. How was her bunker shot, Kay?
She actually hit a pretty decent shot. She had her ball was nestled down a little bit more, not fully plugged, but just sitting into the wet sand. So her ball released further away than Nasa.
55th in sand saves this year on the LPGA Tour is Sandra.
I see left or right here. Just go it straight.
Hasn't had a par since the 7th. This is, of course, for par at 13. We talked about her work with Cameron McCormack, and they started working together a few months ago. Since then, she really has shown some signs of a great improvement. She finished 10th at Kingsmill, 5th at the ShotRite LPGA Classic. She was 3rd in Arkansas, and she did have a top 15 finish at the Thornberry Creek LPGA Classic up in Oneida, Wisconsin. So things are trending in the right direction, Kay.
Yeah, definitely. And Sandra's always one of those players that you just feel like is on the cusp of breaking out and doing something really phenomenal. She has a great disposition for this game.
Well, certainly bold with that attempt.
Goodness, fell in love with the line and forgot the proper speed.
Go to the 12th.
World number 1 again, as she was briefly last year. Arya Jatanagarn, number 1 in the race to the CME Globe. As Jerry pointed out, she's number 1 in a half dozen things or more.
Arya going with 7-iron here, 170 yards into a little light breeze. Pernilla Lindbergh played first with a 5-iron, nearly pulled the flagstick out on it. Beautiful shot.
Let's look at this one. Look at this with Top Tracer here. Looks good. Ooh. I think that was tops with our Top Tracer. Nearly hold it.
It's the first one she's held onto the club with 2 hands since we've been watching her an hour and a half.
She has done it, and she's made birdie on a couple of them with the one-handed follow-through. That'll take her to 9 under par.
Well, Lizette Salas obviously determining that the ball is not on the closely mown area here, otherwise she would be able to move it with lift, clean and place.
Or maybe anything that she moved would be deemed to be closer to the hole.
Good point. Just the way the angle of the grass there behind. Anyway, it doesn't make too much of a difference. She almost knocked it in. It's going to be a 3. I think with that area Jutanagan situation, the rough looked a lot thicker behind the ball as well. I mean, it would have made a massive difference.
Yeah.
Hataoka now for par at the 13th.
This would be quite a sandy.
Oh, it's really good. Now, that's why she's leading. 1-shot lead for this breakout star from Japan.
Maybe a little less than that. Like left center is good, huh?
That's a nice gesture there from Paula. Go to the 11th. Cheyenne Woods has a lot of work to do here. She's 3 over par. And the cut at the moment is 2 under, but it's been close to going to 3. So she's going to have to play some of her best golf over the last stretch of this round if she wants to be around for the weekend. There's only 2 more weeks after this for Cheyenne to guarantee she'll be on tour next year. 117th on the money list.
Well, we saw Lizette Salas with 12 pars after shooting 62. How will Brandt Snedeker follow up his 59? We'll find out today in our second round coverage of the Wyndham Championship in Greensboro, North Carolina. 11.
Sophia Schubert for birdie. This is her first week as a professional. She's going to be going to the LPGA Q School next week, which is going to be played, as always, in the desert, although they are using one new golf course this year outside of Mission Hills. Still using the Mission Hills layouts as well.
Well, as you say, she opted to turn pro, take the sponsor's invite. So, Karen, here she goes. As a professional, first hole, par 5 10th. Okay, what's so hard about this?
Nothing to it. It's professional golf business, easy peasy.
She's birdied every hole as a professional. Could she make it 2 for 2 as a pro?
Oh, why not? Why not?
Only right in the heart. She would go on to shoot an even par round of 72. She's from Knoxville, Tennessee. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. U.S. Women's Amateur Champion. This year's Women's Am last week was in her home state of Tennessee, the Golf Club of Tennessee, just outside Nashville. She opted to give up an invite to the Rico Women's British Open, and she said, as Tom mentioned, going to Q School, that is my focus, and I didn't want to have to play 3 or 4 weeks in a row, some huge events across the pond and back. It seemed a rather sensible decision.
Well, she was making the move to professional golf. That's her future. Her amateur career is done. She wants to move on. The timing was obviously right, and I think very sensible on her part to focus on that, because it's a big step.
Another U.S. Amateur champion a couple of times, Danielle Kang, now a major champion after last year's win here in the Midwest over in Chicago. To 12, and Pernilla Lindberg.
5-iron release to here. This putt pretty much straight up the slope. A little bit on the slow side, turning left early. That snapped left and hit the brakes.
I'm not so sure she caught that out the sweet spot of the putter. It looked like she kind of sliced across it a bit and it came off the toe.
After the victory at the A&A, she had a couple of good, solid top 15 finishes backing that up, and it's been a breakout victory for her. Ariya Jutanugarn hits it stiff at the 12th. She'll have a putt to get to 9 under in a moment. Nasa Hataoka, the 19-year-old, leads it by 1. Lucas Oil Stadium, the house that Peyton Manning built, according to some. It opened 10 years ago yesterday, and you can see it in the distance from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Day 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship. Ariya Jutanugarn for birdie at 12. Well, she leads the tour in par 3 scoring average, leads in par 4 scoring average. She's actually 12th in par 5 scoring average, all the way down to 12th.
That's crazy when you think about
Surprising,
her
Yeah,
extra distance, but then doesn't often hit driver off the tee. So
Park at 13. Ooh, right over the flag. That was impressive. She's the kind of player that can do that. That when she's on her game, she just peppers it all over the flag stick.
This is getting good, isn't it? Nasa Hataoka looking for a second win. Sunghyun Park looking for a third. Ariya looking for a fourth. Danielle Kang and Lizette Salas, Solheim Cup teammates, right there in the mix as well. So Ariya won Kingsmill in a playoff over Nasa Hataoka and In-Ji Chun, then won the U.S. Women's Open in a playoff with Yeoju Kim, then won her 10th event in her young career in Scotland, Sunghyun Park, that 36-hole weather-shortened event, and then the playoff to win the KPMG Women's PGA to 13.
3-wood. Ariya Jutanugarn. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, it is left. Is that off the car path there?
That ended up in a flower planter next to some railroad ties by the 11th tee.
Wow.
oh, that's going to be an unplayable then. Sounds
Yeah.
like.
Sometimes those are mandatory relief too. I'm not sure. I didn't read the local rules.
I've got it in front of me. Let me have a quick look.
While you're doing that, let's check in on Lizette Salas.
It's so soft.
4th hole. Again, they're playing lift clean in place.
Back. So 125 is perfect.
You'll see the
This one
tees in the
lands
ground.
basically just right of the flag. Like that?
So landed on that dead bush. Start right of it.
You can start on that dead bush, landing
Okay.
on the left edge of that dead bush.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eight birdies and an eagle yesterday, all pars today.
Yeah, good.
Good?
Yeah.
If that was oops, then tells you how she's hitting it. Well, the Solheim Cup is 13 months away. Glen Eagles in Scotland next September, but there's Lizette Salas leading the way. Jessica Korda, who had a win earlier this year. Lexi Thompson, Christy Kerr, and you see a few unfamiliar names in terms of Solheim Cup, like Brittany Altamari, who was tied for the Low American finish at the Rico Women's British Open. A couple of Vanderbilt players, Concolino and Alex.
Well, and Altamari's been playing very well, very consistent. Almost won in
Evian.
France.
Yeah.
And Danielle Kang, even if she doesn't get in those automatic spots, I can't see Julie Inkster leaving her off the team. I think she was a star last time around and really relished that environment.
We've been talking about time running out in terms of full field events. Next week in Canada, then Portland in a couple of weeks. Those are the last, officially speaking, full field events. Here's a chance that maybe one of the Asian events would go deep onto the priority list for players who are not fully exempt or in the top 80 on the money list. The time is now. Lydia Ko will, as you see, 2:21 Eastern Time. Tee time's moved back 1 hour after some storms this morning. 13.
Problems for Ariya Jutanugarn here. This is for par. Yeah, missed the green here and didn't hit a particularly good chip shot, so do well to make a 4. It's going to be a drop shot for Moria, and she's going to fall back to 4 under. Got to be careful. There's a very small margin of error here between being not far away from challenging for the top of the leaderboard and in danger of missing the cut.
Yeah, everybody's quite bunched up, aren't they?
Jerry mentioned the problems for area, and they're still looking for the golf ball, we understand.
Well, I was pretty close to it. It's right in there somewhere. This is the problem of finding it. And then LPGA rules official Marty Robinson is on hand to tell her the process from here.
I think they may have found it in the flower bush. I don't see anything on the local rules about those railroad buffer.
I would
buffers,
think
but you would think they would get relief from them.
Get free relief from those is what I'm thinking.
There'll be another nice break there for Area if she does get a free drop. Park to tie the lead. Oh, missed opportunity. That was a really good look at birdie, but just sliding away. Yeah, funny old start to the year, wasn't it, as you mentioned? We thought Park may have been a one-hit wonder on the LPGA Tour, but she dismissed those thoughts pretty quickly in April.
April was about the time that Nasa Hataoka really took off. Third shot, par 5 14th, K.
Took quite a bit of time to decide between 2 wedges for this shot. Good aggressive play there.
Go back to the 10th hole, par 5. Laid up, had an in-between distance. Hit her third shot a little fat. Hit her fourth shot from short of the green, a little heavy as well. Good workout here for Area at 13.
It would appear that she is going to get a free drop here, Karen.
She is indeed getting a free drop, Tom. It's still not going to be great from there. She'll get 1 club length from that nearest point of relief from the obstruction, and a lot of tree trouble ahead of her.
You win.
Huge break, though, Jerry. I mean, you could say that the ball may not have finished in that flower bed had those wooden planks not been there, but this is going to be huge. She's going to be able to get the ball back to the fairway.
Yeah, she'll have a relatively good chance of trying to save par somehow here. I don't think she can get it on the green, but she is kind of magical sometimes.
She'll try to get like this side.
Yeah, I don't think you can get up there far enough going up.
So that's looking back from behind the green. So that gives you an idea of what she's got to deal with.
Well, and you know, looking at that, if she takes her club length left,
so the ball is now in play. Not a very good lie.
no, it's nestled down.
Try to get a ball. It's going to hit the hill. If it doesn't hit the hill, I mean, you can hit this post.
And we'll go to 4 whilst they figure that out.
And Lizette Salas for birdie, looking for her first of the day. You may be wondering, by the way, how is she leading the Solheim Cup point standing? She hasn't won. There have been 4 Americans who won this year. But the points accruing, but oh, here we go. Take a little right turn. The points began adding up in Canada last year, after last year's Solheim Cup. She had 5 top 10s after August of last year. That's how she began piling up points for next year's Solheim Cup.
Consistency pays.
Or does it ever? Lauren Coughlin, you see 159 in the race to the CME Globe. Looking on tour. and gets a birdie there at 12. Now, she's coming off good form, but not on the LPGA Tour. So 2 birdies in her last 3 holes. She's now 3 under, and she's a shot inside the cut line. Take a look at where she is in the Louise Suggs Rolex Rookie of the Year standing. She's 18th, but she just won last week on the Symetra Tour, and that victory will put her in the Evian Championship next month in France.
I think it's a little unfair, though, that her money doesn't count for the money list on the Symetra Tour, because she's a member of the LPGA Tour, has sort of full exemption out here as we watch Pernilla Lindbergh, and so therefore her earnings don't count when she plays a Symetra Tour event. I think it's a little unfair. Now, Ariya Jutanugarn second. Oh dear, tree trouble.
Yeah, she's now clear of the trees and will be able to get the next one on, but that didn't. Well, 12 yards, she advanced it.
Well, she could have. She was pretty lucky that it could have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
It could have gone back to where she started, or even worse, far enough away from the wooden planks where she would have had to have played it. Right, the center of that tree. If you aimed at the center of the tree, you wouldn't have hit it.
And they say that, trees are what, 90% air?
Not the trunks.
No, I always felt like they were lying about that, and now I have proof that they actually are lying.
Okay, a lip out for NASA.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity there. That putt just a little bit longer than the par putt she made on the previous hole. I think she hit it how she wanted to, but it was just a tough read.
So she remains tied with Lizette Salas. NASA birdied every other hole, 2, 4, 6, and 8, but none since then. 13 again.
Third shot for Ariya, and as you mentioned, Jerry, she can now get this ball onto the green, but she's got some trees and the bunkers to deal with.
Yes, there's some obstacles in the way, but for about 135 to 140 yard shot, pitching wedge, maybe a smooth 9. So she can get over the tree in front of her quite easily. Getting it anywhere around the hole would be not only skillfully executed, but quite lucky.
Yeah, I think you almost have to try to do a little bit like a kind of a cutting. It's going to go up in the air off that line. I think you can hit 9, get it full, and kind of just hit a little bit of a clip, a little bit of a cut.
It's quite a rarity, actually, watching LPGA players.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to start it. We're going to want to start at left of this first tree.
Having to deal with shots like this. Players hit it so straight, they rarely hit it in trouble.
Nope.
Well, it's interesting. I had a really long talk with So-Yeon Yu at the UL International Crown team announcement press conference day and outing, and she said many of the Korean players never learn how to hit a trouble shot till they come to America, Tom, because over there, number one, you learn golf indoors primarily when you're young. Well, that just clipped the tree, but it looks like it'll be enough. And then secondly, most of their courses, if you hit it off the fairway, you're usually hitting another ball. There's the way the courses are designed, you don't have trouble shots.
Players from Korea, many of them hit it so straight, they don't have to worry about it over here either. the Indy Women in Tech Championship here at Brickyard Crossing, and Area Jutanagan. This would be a remarkable 4.
Yes, ridiculous 4 up and over a huge mound, very quick from here forward.
It's a good putt. Should guarantee just the 1 shot dropped, and it'll be her first bogey of the day. Go to the 5th hole, and the 4th shot for Danielle Kang. Got a chance to save par.
It's a Canada green, soft, double breaker.
Chirping away. She might be the new Christy Kerr for chirping on the golf course. Maybe not as much commentary about her shots, but likes to chat away about the shots that she's just played.
Well, you've got to keep occupied somewhere along the line, Tom.
Exactly. Fifteenth hole, starting the 4-hole stretch inside the speedway. These are not the 15th through the 18th holes if you were to come and play here, 7 through 10 if you come and play here on a regular day, but the LPGA and Octagon, the event company that puts this on, they decided that it would be better, along with the sponsors, to finish inside the raceway. I think it's kind of a nice way to do it, really, isn't it?
That sounded thin, but it may just work out.
Yeah, sometimes those thin shots aren't that bad.
Thin to win,
Yeah.
as they say.
That's okay. Anyone on the correct portion of that green is not the worst thing. If you miss the green, then you're in trouble at 15 to 13. Minjee Lee for a birdie.
Turning a little right from here, uphill.
Wow. Claire, who's 5th on tour in birdies, makes another one.
There's Area clapping again for a fellow competitor.
And we go back over to the 15th and NASA.
Tom, you really have to trust the number on this one because it's a deceiving shot. Only 137 to the front. But the hole's 43 paces on this green. It's 51 paces deep.
Well, they're not short of space, Kay, here.
No.
And they sort of use that well on this hole. Able to make it look like a very small target. Now, Area for bogey. Still has a good round going. She's 6 under par for the day. Might be enough for that golf ball. Time for a change. Doesn't look to be too bothered, does she? Now Danielle Kang, who might be a little bothered if she misses this one. This for par. Okay. Just a 5. Good up and down, her caddy says. Well, you've got to respect the golf course and those turns if you are racing here at Indy.
Good for you, though. Whole bottle is like 10 pounds.
Nice birdie. Thank you. Just ready. Yeah, right there. That
Push me to 2.
Golf Channel and the LPGA Tour welcome you back to Indianapolis, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indy Women in Tech Championship, driven by Group 1001. Grant Boone, Karen Stupples, Tom Abbott, Sherry Foltz, and Kay Cockrell watching Nasa Hataoka. Shot 8 under par on day 1, and that birdie for Nasa, the 4th on her front 9. Lizette Salas just a moment ago at the 4th hole, her 13th of the day.
Have been treading water up till this point, but that one finally giving her a red number on the card.
Shot 62 yesterday, tying her career low, but made 13 straight pars, then that, or 12 straight pars, then that birdie at the 4th. Ariage Tanagarn having a great second round, so is Sung Hyun Park, the only 2 multiple winners. And here is Sung Hyun Park. It's her 3rd shot at the par 5 14th. She's 1 shot off the lead. Lift clean in place conditions these first couple of days.
And even with her length, couldn't get to this green in 2. Isn't going to matter so much because she's just played a tremendous wedge.
Sandra Gar for a birdie at the 15th.
Nasa Hataoka is going to pay close attention to this putt, as her own birdie putt is on a very similar line. Overall, this should move right to left. It's just a question how much.
The sun is shining for the first time today.
Tom, I just applied some sunscreen.
Well, you've got to protect your skin out there, Kay.
Exactly, and this San Franciscan doesn't see a lot of sun in the middle
No,
of the
I
summer.
understand you haven't seen it for months there in San Francisco. Well, this is Paula Rito. This is her final hole of the day, and this is a player who has really struggled this year. Could have done with a birdie. She missed 13 straight cuts and made the cut in her last start, the Marathon Classic, where she finished tied for 69th. She's 143rd on the money list and needs a really special week, and she might just have it. Now this is
260.
Lizette Salas.
Not this one.
No.
At the 5th.
Yeah, 9 is fine.
She's
just a half.
managed to
half
take a
9,
drop.
Basically right at where Dino's standing out there, if you can. You see that?
Yeah.
Her ball was about where her left foot, her
Well, I
right
mean, you
foot
can-
is right
you can
now.
stand, like, you can even more
And the
left,
reason-
this would not be in your
That's
way.
what I mean.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
just cut
Okay,
one
okay, perfect.
at the tower and just let it.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, we only want to hit this right now. About 100.
Oh.
All right.
And the reason she got relief from the cart path was because she was going to play the shot left-handed and her feet were on the path.
Go.
Huh?
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's called using the rules to your advantage,
It
right
really
there.
was, yeah.
Her foot was on the cart path when she was trying to swing it left-handed, so she took relief from that
Yep.
and then could move the ball and turn around and play it right-handed.
Yep.
Nasa now for a birdie. I say move the ball. She could drop the
it,
ball.
yep.
Yeah. You knew what I meant.
I was with you. And now everybody else does too.
Yeah. Just a par. Tied for the lead.
Now, will she have some company here? Sung Hyun Park. They were in the company of So-Yeon Yu, those two, in that playoff, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, which Sung Hyun eventually won. This for a share of the lead. Well, her only par on the back nine was on 13, and that was a lip out for birdie. Sung Hyun Park, Nasa Hataoka Lizette Salas tied for the lead. Day 2 in Indy.
Are they going? Are they going? Oh, okay.
So they had money, but they wouldn't build the other, like River Run, so decent venture club, so they built their own. That's the story. Obviously, I went around and I played Westwood. Yeah, it's good. It's in great shape. Ironically, the first time, I mean, I've played every growing up there. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing here, so I was 9. And I'm not. I finally played it for the first time like last year. It's great. Really good green.
Yeah.
Se siente 47, 15 vamos a poner cuántas repeticiones. 47, 13. Son 50, 160. Nada, está perfecto ahí. Sí, ahí está. No, no, es casi lo pateas.
Stand on this hole.
See, it's saying there's no. Back with the co-leader, Lizette Salas. This is her 3rd shot at the 5th. If she makes a par here, it'll be a good score, considering that tee shot was just a yard from going out of bounds, maybe even less than a yard. And she might get away with a birdie. Go to 16.
And the tee shot of Nasa Hataoka. This is where Lydia Ko hit it in the water yesterday, made double.
Yeah, it's a scary tee shot, and this flirting with the left side.
Ooh. Well, where was it earlier that she?
On 8.
Was it 8 maybe?
Yeah,
where she was
8.
within a yard or so. Let's take a look at our top 10s leaderboard, brought to you by Leaders, appropriately. Area Jatanagarn, as she is in so many categories. Number 1, look at Nasa with 6. Last year, her best finish in her rookie season on the LPGA Tour was tied for 15th. It was in Portland, where they'll play in a couple of weeks. But already 6, including a victory. And she is on our leaders board. 3rd shot at the par 5 14th for Area Jatanagarn, coming off her first bogey of the day.
And a lengthy one at that, 170 yards remaining to the hole. Drove it in the right rough. Caught a tree on her layup shot, trying to get one advance it well further up the fairway. But just a 7-iron for Area.
Both hands on the club there.
I think that means she likes it.
Beauty. So she'll have that to get the shot back that she dropped on 13. One of our co-leaders now, 15.
One more control pitch. Only control.
180 yards today. There's a good look from above, and that'll give you an indication of where that flag sits on the green.
Playing some 30 yards longer than it did yesterday, Tom, so the LPGA rules officials giving the players and caddies something to think about on this hole.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. I like that.
Oh, that's good too. Really nice distance control. Love watching her with those iron shots.
Yeah, that's a little tighter to the left than 15.
Third shot at the par 5 14th for Pernilla Lindberg.
Just a little gap wedge here.
Tied for 6th.
Coming in low a little left of the hole. Pretty well done.
Well, she handled the pressure of the A&A Inspiration winning it over NB Park. How will she handle the pressure facing the tough questions in Caddy Knows Best?
Caddy Knows Best with A&A champion Pernilla Lindberg, her caddy, and her fiance Daniel Taylor. Pleasure to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
First one ever done indoors, top of the pagoda at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is a special one, 10 questions selected especially for you. One, which was supplied by your parents. We'll get to that in a minute. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The most interesting thing you have done involving the A&A trophy.
Ooh. Just kiss it?
He said 20 minutes to unpack it.
Oh.
All right, Pernilla, your favorite Swedish dish.
Oh, this is hard. Maybe something with salmon?
Oh, he said pittapana?
Oh, yeah.
Which is nothing but leftovers with a fried egg.
Exactly what it is. Yep.
Love it, yeah. And it's on every menu. The biggest splurge you've had since you won the A&A, what have you bought yourself?
Barely anything. I went shopping a little bit for my own birthday when we were in New York City.
You got an Apple Watch.
Oh.
Okay, we're 0 for 3. We got to get going on
Oh,
this.
come on.
Your favorite ABBA song?
Dancing Queen?
Only one we could think of, absolutely. The best compliment you've ever given Daniel on the course?
Good club?
He said no screw-ups today. Which major, other than the A&A, would you most like to win next?
US Open.
US Open, perfect. That's a minute already. All right, 1 minute already. We got 2 bonus questions.
Okay, let's get these.
All right, the hardest thing to put together at IKEA?
The Billy bookshelf.
he said everything. All right, Daniel, skip to the last one. This is the one supplied by your parents, not really. You guys have already taken the plunge together in the Poppy's Pond. Everybody wants to know when you're going to take the actual plunge in life. If Daniel ever gets to the card, when are you getting married? Everybody wants to know.
We have not set a date yet, but we know where we would like to do it, but we'll see when we get around to finding time in our schedule.
And where is that where you'd like to do it?
In Houston.
Well, I think you might have got 2 bonus questions there. You got them both right.
Yay!
Good job, you guys. Awesome. No high five for your fiance?
Oh. Okay, we did good.
This is like our premarital counseling with Pernilla and Daniel. Very nice. What a year. What a year it has been. 194th career event she broke through in a big way. With the pagoda behind her, Nasa Hataoka, 16.
Those two don't have enough fun, do they? Nasa with a 7-iron. Just didn't quite flush it. Maybe pulled it a little, but on the green.
3-way tie for the lead. We go back to 5.
Salas for a remarkable birdie here. Oh, that is...
It's clever.
That is clever.
That is actually very clever.
That is sneaking one, stealing one.
Well,
there.
it's keeping your head in a situation that is quite tricky and knowing the rules and all of that kind of stuff without getting flustered. She came off with a birdie.
And we've got some birdie putts here at the 14th, and this is Pernilla Lindberg.
About 15 feet. I don't see much break in it. Love that pre-shot routine where she stands there and takes a couple of practice strokes while looking at the hole. It's the best, in my opinion, best way to read a putt. You get the sense of it. You use your instincts and not your eyeballs. And she's had great results with it.
Another one there.
Moves into a tie for 5th with another first-time winner this year, Tidapa Suwanapura. They're both 9 under. So now Ariat Tanagarn, after missing the fairway, punched out, hit a beauty of a 7-iron. This to go to 9 under as well.
Yes, this would, I guess, after the performance on Sunday at Belle Reve, we'd call this a tiger-like birdie.
Yeah. He didn't hit a fairway in that front 9, yet still worked his way to within 1 of the lead.
She got a nice read off Pernilla. Doesn't do much. Sticks with her unique routine.
May is her nickname, has it on her shoes. Oh. We mentioned that she is 12th in par 5 scoring, which is still obviously very good, but first in par 3, first in par 4. Her waywardness off the tee at times, perhaps could, as it did here, put her in harm's way. 7.
Danielle Kang on the par 3. We mentioned in our streaming broadcast a little earlier that this hole is shorter than it was in round 1. It was a very difficult hole on Thursday, a little easier today, but still that green is tricky with the humps and bumps. The water hazard comes into play and the bunkers as well. Salas with a 1-shot lead in Indy.
She hit it in the lake on the creek. Took a boat. Did you spectate on 8 before you walked up there? We spectated. I wish you had a 7. Yeah. Yeah. You're here for your name. All these gals from Thailand.
Bueno, estamos dando chance hasta con hierro 5, sí. Esa es la actitud. Should have brought like a gaming console with played all the cards. Parece que ya es hora que lo lave.
Sí, ¿no?
I'm sorry? I'll tell you what, we're going to fill it before we leave. Oh, we got it. You might not be cold, but it'll be full. That's okay. We've been ridiculed by the best.
Well, I'm a long ways from that.
Okay.
They actually do it.
Safe as up to me, I put them upside down. They were the warm ones, but that's not the rule. That's not the way they said.
They said they wanted to.
Yeah.
Going today in there.
The golden
It's doodling.
We're golden doodling. Nasa Hataoka, this for a share of the lead at 16.
And trying for her 5th birdie today, Grant, and still trying to get that first one on this back 9. Well, she's given this a good hit. Hoping that hole got in the way, but no gimme coming back.
Had the lead by 2 shots earlier. Back to 15.
Park to tie Salas. Bang, and it goes. She is looking difficult to beat with the way she's hitting those irons. And when that putter starts to work alongside really nice iron play, you can see what happens. 5 birdies on the back 9.
Well, today we've seen Ariya Jutanugarn use the lift clean in place rule to her advantage, getting the ball away from a thick collar of heavy rough, Karen, at the 6th hole. We just saw Lizette Salas use the rules to her advantage at the 5th. Both made birdie. Now Salas at the 6th.
Quite a short, compact swing, but it's very efficient.
Oh, look out here. So she shot 62 yesterday. She made 12 straight pars to start her second round. That for a 3rd straight birdie. Other side of the course, the 16th, and Nasa Hataoka for par.
Hate those 3 putts, Karen. An unforced 3 putt. It really wasn't that difficult a putt to 2 putt.
No, and I think that was just maybe a little lack of patience. You know, trying to make a birdie happen, and you race the one past.
15.
Lindbergh on the tee at the 15th.
Flag today on the back portion of the green looks like almost a comic strip here. It is brutally intimidating from the tee. 5 iron. You miss the green, it's going to roll down a sizable slope in any direction.
It's so difficult to get up and down from down the bottom there, Jerry, too. And I think when you're standing on the tee, that's always in the back of your mind.
Or you can do that.
That's pretty perfect.
Makes it a lot more difficult when the wind starts to blow, as we saw yesterday here. It was starting to get tricky as we go to 6.
And Yanni Sen, who holed out earlier in her second round for an eagle. She's number 123 in the race to the CME Globe, and she is racing to make the cut, which is now at -3. Nearly holes out again. We're number 1 in the world. We go back to the tee at the 16th, and we'll see this tee shot of the powerful Sung Hyun Park with our top tracer. She has a way of making it look easy at times.
She does. It's effortless power, and she's very accurate with that power too. It's quite a potent combination.
7.
Danielle Kang to move into a tie for the lead. She's missed a few opportunities today. Could have been a lot lower.
It's golf for you. You know, it's frustrating at times because you're doing all the right things, but just millimeters off can cause you to miss the hole.
Ariya on the tee at 15.
Ariya going with 7 iron, light breeze from the left, a little in. As he's hitting a draw, holding it into that breeze on a good line.
A good result. Good chance for a 2. Let's check in with Caitlin Danbar. This is her 3rd shot at the 13th. Does this mean that it goes in? Oh, wasn't far away. Good week so far for Caitlin Danbar, who's 117th in the race to the CME Globe. So she's got to pick it up a little bit if she wants to make it to the Tour Championship.
There's another rookie, this one from Australia, Hannah Green. Like Danbar, tied for 7th. Through a day and a half here in Indianapolis. Both hands on the wheel. 16, par putt for Paula Creamer. And she is not going to make the cut. A lot of changes for Paula on and off the course. They're still a work in progress. The morning wave continues to play here. Day 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship.
Watching yesterday's coverage and recorded it and watching it last night, actually this morning.
Did you see us on there?
I didn't watch it live. I only got like a 45 minutes into it. We were still eating lunch.
Overnight leader Lizette Salas looking for a 3rd straight birdie. And this to take the lead outright again. Inside the leather, inside the cup, Lizette Salas looking for a 2nd career victory. And on a nice little roll here after 12 straight pars. 13.
Dunbar for a par. Well done.
Kind of a tennis move, isn't it, to put the ball under the skirt?
Little bit, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. 2nd serve.
First year on the LPGA Tour for Caitlin Dunbar. Finished 10th at Kingsmill. Potential to go better than that this week. She is currently tied for 7th this year alongside Angel Yin, who plays later today. Great day for Paula Reed, 68, and she is in desperate need of a good finish, trying to avoid having to go to the Q Series, which is a new final stage of the Q School. It's changed for 2018. It's going to be 8 rounds played in Pinehurst. It used to be 4 or 5 rounds, didn't it, down in Daytona? But it's now changed to a new format.
That's the final stage now.
Final stage is the Q Series, yes. Still 2 stages before having to get there, and the first of which is next week. Now, Eri Jutanagan for birdie.
It'd be a rare 2 on this hole. Almost feel like you're stealing one.
Oh, just a fraction more.
2 in a row, actually, just like that.
Par 3 7th. We talked about the difficulty of this hole. It gives you a good indication of what we're talking about. That water really shouldn't come into play, certainly not with the flag today over on the left. But on Sunday, when I'm going to guess they put it at the back right, then it might be a different story. Still the bunkers in play. And sand on the left as well. Yeah, good shot.
We heard a little roar when Ariya Jutanugarn was putting for birdie at 15. Jackie Stolting to finish off a terrific second round. How about a 66? She's missed 6 of her last 7 cuts. Sometimes a day, a week can change an entire season and sometimes a career even.
Well, and you sometimes find just that one little key that really helps put you in the right spot, something to really focus on.
Vanilla for birdie. Oh. I must say I was a little disappointed with her caddy knows best performance.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time together, and yet
I think she was a bit nervous.
Well, Jerry will do that too.
Yeah,
it's intimidating. No
Very
question.
intimidating. Yep. At the 16th, Sung Hyun Park. Now 1 shot back. What a day for her. 8 under par. Safe.
And you're right, Tom. When she gets on fire like she has been this round today, hitting fairways, hitting greens, rolling the ball well, she's it's like she rides that confidence, and every single shot she stands over, she feels like she's going to have a good crack at a birdie.
Hannah Green watched that putt from Jackie Stolting go in. This is for a birdie of her own. 67 though for Hannah, the rookie from Australia. Like so many of the young Aussie players, idolizes Kari Webb, who's done so much for junior golf in Australia. And having a nice year, as we mentioned. The bulk of her good play came in the first 5 weeks of the season, including in her homeland in Australia, where she had a top 5 finish. Eight under is tied for 7th at the moment.
Second on the way at 17 for Nasa.
From the middle of this narrow fairway. Coming in with the 9-iron.
Another week of low scoring for the LPGA Tour. Lizette Salas has a chance for 4 straight birdies to get to 14 under.
Something. Yeah. 335 yards.
I know it. Sitting there watching it the other day on TV, and I'm saying, God, these guys, they just slam these balls. Trying to make 150, 200.
That's why watching the women, you can see that if you set up balance and you swing smoothly and you finish your swing,
you go. I know.
And hit the ball in the center of the club face is what it is.
This is a good spot.
Par 4, 16th, number 1 in the world, Ariya Jutanugarn.
was a nice looking swing. Little tiny draw down the middle.
Yeah, and given that her miss a couple of holes back was a big left and all that trouble left, that was a nice little confident play there from Area.
Ahead 1-17.
Nasa for a birdie.
It'll be interesting to see if she's a little gun shy after running that last putt so far by. Nope, that was a good roll. That very well could have dropped.
Always good to have a short memory.
Yeah, Lydia Ko talked about that, and the best in the game really let the past go behind them and not futurize, stay right in the present.
Back at that 16th, you see the water. It's on the right of your screen to the left of the players. This is Sung Hyun Park, 8 under on a round today, and this for a 6th birdie in 7 holes on the back 9. But this is not an easy one, is it?
No, it's got a little bit of movement to it and slightly downhill. And the fact that she's getting Kelly David Jones to hold the flag for her means that it's probably a little bit longer than we're seeing on our screens.
Just 1 bogey so far through almost 2 rounds. Was at the 8th hole yesterday. She'll have that for par as we go back to the 7th.
Lizette Salas for 4 birdies in a row. She has only led after 36 holes in an LPGA Tour event once. That was the 2015 Maya LPGA Classic, where you'll remember she battled with Lexi Thompson on the final day. Lizette had a comfortable lead, but just couldn't close the deal. And shot 70 on Sunday to Lexi's 65. Lost by 1. Not a birdie, just a par, but she remains 1 ahead. 62 yesterday for Salas. If she pars the last 2 holes today, it'll be 62-69 over the opening 2 rounds. Now, Gall for birdie at 17.
3-putt the last hole to drop to 5 under.
So a strange day in terms of the scorecard. It was pretty steady for the first 8 holes, and then a bit of everything thrown in.
Tom, she finished tied for 19th here last year, so obviously this course appeals to her.
Well, this time the joke is on Faraday as he's joined by comedian Kevin Nealon. Don't miss the all-new Faraday Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern on Golf Channel. Maybe he'll have a weekend update for us. To the 9th.
Tadapa Sawanapura.
Oh, be good.
Oh, she likes it. Oh, I thought Sawanapura was just going to pour it in. Good chance for a birdie. And we've got these events upcoming on the LPGA Tour. Next week, Regina, Saskatchewan. We head north of the border for the CP Women's Open. I've never been to that part of the world. Looking forward to that. Can be a Portland Classic in a couple of weeks. And then over to Europe for the Evian Championship, and a very exciting week coming up in Korea, the UL International Crown. Schubert just missing out. 8 countries at the UL Crown. And we'll be at the Jack Nicklaus Golf Club in Songdo, near Incheon, just outside of Seoul. It's about an hour's drive from the center of Seoul.
Sophia Schubert, last year's U.S. Women's Amateur Champion. She got it done in Southern California, San Diego Country Club, Chula Vista. 36-hole final. She was already 3 up when she hit this beauty at the 22nd hole. 4th. Stalben Valenzuela. She went 4 up there, and from off the green, on the 29th hole, the 11th, she'd go 5 up, and then she closed it out, a 6-5 victory. She joins an illustrious group, which includes our own Kay Cockrell, who can call themselves United States Amateur Champions. At the 16th, you got a par putt here for Sung Hyun Park to stay one back.
The U.S. Women's Amateur Championship trophy has a very European feel to it. It was donated by a man from Scotland, has Scottish thistles on it.
I never knew that.
Take a close-up of it. It's very pretty. I think probably one of the prettiest trophies in amateur golf.
It looks a little bit like the Evian trophy, doesn't it? Or am I dreaming that?
I haven't looked too closely at the Evian trophy.
Let me look at it.
Solid par for Sung Hyun Park. Tough two-putt.
Tom, I think you're dreaming about it being compared to the
Yes,
Evian
it doesn't look
trophy.
anything like the Evian trophy.
That U.S. Amateur Trophy women's is quite unique.
Well, it's you can be forgiven for dreaming about Evian. It is that kind of a place. And Nasa Hataoka in the fairway at 18. Let's take a look now at our JDX countdown to the UL International Crown. Nasa Hataoka, the one LPGA Tour victory, the only one among the 4 players from Japan who will compete for that flag. But we did see Mamiko Higa contend at the Ricoh Women's British Open, and those other 3 play on the Japan LPGA Tour. It is worth noting, though, you see Nasa, number 15 in the world ranking. 1 year ago this week, she was number 170 in the world rankings. Not having a good year on the LPGA Tour, but boy, how well she played in her homeland last fall. A couple of wins, including a major championship, and now her first victory on the LPGA Tour. Nasa will lead the Japanese team at the UL International Crown. Danielle Kang was really grinding to make it on the U.S. team. She's got this putt here at the 8th, her 17th hole. I have to wonder about Michelle Wee's status for the UL International Crown. She withdrew a couple of weeks ago from the Ricoh Women's British Open, the hand injury.
That's true. We've had no further news about that. Normally players will post on Instagram or Twitter about progress and things, but haven't seen anything.
She's been posting, but not necessarily updating us on her health. So this is the U.S. team. We have Lexi, Jessica, Christy, and Michelle. But I don't think that's the hand that we see there that's actually hurt. But Michelle Wee, hopefully she's okay. It is October, the UL International Crown, so she has some time. But Lizette Salas was grinding to make that team. Danielle Kang was as well. It's based on world ranking. And Arya Jatanagarn will be front and center for Team Thailand. Here she is at 16.
From 130 yards on a pretty severe downhill lie, the gap wedge in her hands. Chased after it nicely, but off that downhill lie, went a little right, and there's some slope there.
She'll have a bit of a read to the 9th.
Tidapa Sawanapura to finish at 10 under par. This for a round of 67. Yes. Thai golf is Thai hot right now, isn't it?
It's very spicy out there for them.
Wonderful golf. 67-67, trying to win again on the LPGA Tour. To the tee at the 17th Park. Is that down the left side? Yes, that's a really popular spot there. It's the way this hole sets up to the players' eyes, but we see so many of them hitting it into that left rough. Lizette Salas leads by 1. We've already seen plenty of rounds in the 60s.
Good shot.
Yeah, good shot.
Thank you.
キャリーあ、全然いいでしょ。上げてるよ。この方角で上げてる、こっちから。
The morning wave finishing up round 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship, driven by Group 1001. This is Nasa Hataoka. At one point had a 2-shot lead today. Has cooled off a bit. But Kay, we see her having lifted and cleaned, now placing her ball. Got a second shot here.
Yes, she took an aggressive line off the tee and really hammered her drive down here where she only has 95 yards in, which is a nice number to have. Nice to be able to hit just a little gap wedge or sand wedge in here to a hole that's tucked or just hugging the sort of the left-hand side of this green. This long, slender green sets at an angle. Coming off a little downhill lie. Looks good. Oh man, was it ever. She might just get that birdie on the backside.
I do love you. Oh, man.
To the 8th. Toughest hole on the course last year, toughest hole yesterday. Lizette Salas. Leader by 1. She said be right. Ooh. Right at it, but short. And again, she can clean it. Give herself a good lie. At the 16th area, Jatanagarn for birdie.
Up the slope, sliding right sharply. Got a good read from Pernilla.
She doesn't need a lot of help. Wayward tee shot at 13, made bogey, then did not birdie the par 5 14th after another errant tee shot. Enter Golf Advisor Stream Song Resort Sweepstakes. Your chance to play Stream Song Red, Blue, and Black with luxury resort accommodations. Enter now at golfadvisor.com/the tour package. Grant Boone, Karen Stupples, Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz, Kay Cockrell. Day 2 of the Indy Women in Tech Championship from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Brickyard Crossing. Sung Hyun Park playing the 17th. 8 under, has the best round of the day going. The afternoon wave is just now getting started, so Angel Yin you see there. Tee times moved back an hour this morning because of rain in the area and the threat of storms. There is that scoring pagoda behind the players or off to their right, depending on where they're standing. At the 16th, this is Area Jatanagarn, world number 1 for par. We to see these players, these world's best, just brushing in putts from 3, 4, 5, 6 feet. So much more difficult than it appears. Let's get you updated on the Symetra Tour money list. Dati Ardina is trying to do what Binyapana Patsapan did last year, and that's win the Symetra Tour money list without a win. Actually, she'd like to have a win, obviously, but she has 4 seconds, leads the money list. Lauren Coughlin won last week, but as Tom pointed out, not being a member of that tour did not get official money. They have 6 events left in the Symetra Tour season. Sandra Gall at 18. Get you back 1 to the 17th with Salas leading at 13 under.
Check in with Brooke Henderson. She's going along okay today.
It's been fairly quiet though. We haven't seen much of her.
Just dropped a shot at 16. She was 6 under. So 3 under for the day. A chance to get it right back though.
Well, it doesn't surprise me really. That's kind of her MO. Sort of just a fighter, scrappy player. A good way to bounce back.
Salas leading it by 1. She's got a third shot coming up from in front of the green. What will it be? A little bump and run, a little pitch, throw up in the air? Maybe a putt.
It's definitely got the putter out.
Yeah. Great tempo with the putter. Why not?
And, you know, as we've been saying all day, this 8th hole's been playing particularly tough. It is long. There's water all the way down the right side, so to be just on the front edge of the green, not a bad deal. But this one does have a little bit of slope to it from, as we're looking at it, from the right side of the screen. It'll be her left.
Turned 29 last month, from Southern California, went to USC. And a member of the last 3 U.S. Solheim Cup teams. So much slope. Area was a little further to her left, but on the green. And remember, just tapped her putt.
Just really took off.
Now, what a shot from Nasahata Oka. Great way to finish off day 2 here.
Yeah, this is a 3.5 footer.
A 3-putt bogey at 16 and a bogey at the 10th, but nice solid round of 3 under par 69. She is in a tie for 3rd place. 17.
Park, we saw that tee shot left off the tee, only a short iron though, just a 9-iron. Oh my word, it's just relentless with the irons, absolutely relentless. It's fantastic to watch. Final hole of the day for Danielle Kang.
I think these players, Tom, are going to be quite happy that they're going to be finished, because as I look out the window, it's looking a little bit dark out there with those clouds.
Just looked at the radar. Storms, well, not necessarily storms, but rainstorms coming in. So the afternoon starters may have some stop-start golf.
You hit it hard. You ever heard the word rope when he's looking for a
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Indy Women in Tech Championship. This is the 159 group from South Korea, now resides in Florida. On the tee, 3-time LP.
Golf Channel and the LPGA Tour Welcome you back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy Women in Tech Championship driven by Group 1001. We had an hour and 17-minute rain stoppage yesterday, but they did complete round one. Then this morning, a delay of an hour. And you can see the wind blowing a bit. The flags here at the IMS. Lizette Salas leading it by one, but Tom, maybe not for long.
Well, Sunyon Park has a chance to tie the lead.
She most certainly does, and she has taken a lot of time, really feeling confident about this putt. There's not much to it.
Six birdies on the back nine. And Park is tied for the lead.
At the 8th, Lizette Salas opted for putter from off the green, this for par. Okay, so a two-shot swing there. As Park goes to 13 under, Salas drops back to 12. And that is her first bogey of the week. We've got continuing coverage of the Indy Women in Tech Championship coming your way tomorrow. Note our early times, first 2 days, 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. '17.
Pernilla Lindberg, second shot.
Unfortunately not in the fairway. 125 is the distance, but a big clump of mud right on the back of the ball, right where it's going to meet the club face. So this is just cross your fingers and hope. Came out very dead and left. Really, there's just no way to predict what that ball is going to do in that situation.
It was almost as though she didn't see the mud. That was bizarre.
It is. She totally is reacting like that. I don't know how you can miss it.
Yeah, very strange. So you got the clump of mud on the ball, and typically you'd expect this ball to come out with not a great deal of spin. You expect it to come out a little shorter because it's heavy, but that actually started left pretty much as soon as she made contact. So it started a bit left and went further left.
Danielle Kang getting to tie for the lead. Oh, just hit it a fraction too hard, but it's been a really good day for Danielle Kang. Hopefully she knocks that one in for a par for a round of 68, and she's going to be in the hunt to win for the second time. We'll go to the tee at the 18th.
And this unusual tee shot. And our leader, Sungyun Park.
We've seen quite a variety of clubs hit off this tee. And really, Grant, it's not a long hole. It's just a matter of what you feel comfortable with. And she has plenty of length.
The position of these tees is slightly forward to where they were yesterday, which means that there's more room on the right side to hit a draw. There are some trees on the corner that if you hit a big draw, you have to really be careful of catching those trees. But because the tees are a little bit more forward, players have more room.
The carry, 210, and the total drive, 210, 9.
Salas, final hole of the day. If you're wondering what Indy Women in Tech is all about, it's the Indy Women in Tech Foundation to inspire women and girls of all ages to pursue STEM-related employment in Indiana by introducing them to experiences and career opportunities in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And there are tremendous opportunities here in the state of Indiana because of the foundation. understand that in the state of Indiana, with elementary schools, they've introduced robotics to 900 schools in the last couple of years. That's just for the real youngsters. I mean, it's really incredible what they're doing, and it continues to get better and better. Jutanagan.
Just a gap wedge from 119 and not leaving the flag.
Oh yeah, right on it. Good chance for a birdie for Arya Jutanagan. A couple of holes away from ending her day. Trying to get in before the rain comes. That might be tricky. Sun Hyun Park leads by 1.
Go ahead and walk it. And once they finish putting it, go all around. You'll catch up with it. You can go with it when they get.
You're good, thank you. Just don't pass this. Thank you for waiting.
I'm not, just good, just family friend.
I think you should make sure you got your brolly. Back on the 9th hole here, the second round of the Indy Women in Tech Championship. Lizette Salas, second shot. And that is going to be just fine. Pretty straightforward hole, the 9th. And she's got a chance to bounce back after that bogey at 8. Get back into a tie for the lead. Pernilla Lindberg for a par.
Yeah, wasn't able to get the pitch very close on this very severely contoured green. Pretty straight putt. That's not going to make her happy.
Here's all about the mud ball there, I'm afraid. Just a bit of bad luck.
I checked with Daniel, her caddy, and fiance, and he said, yeah, she definitely knew the mud was on there, but he thinks that she might not have hit a very good shot on top of it.
No, definitely the ball started out left of where she was aiming to start with.
It's one of the cars that races in the IndyCar Series that you can see on NBCSN, by the way. And in a couple of weeks' time, they'll be racing in Portland, just a couple of miles away from where the LPGA will be playing at the Cambia Portland Classic.
Up the 18th fairway comes Sun Hyun Park, playing with Brooke Henderson, finishing up round 2.
Yeah, you know, every great race car has to make a pit stop. And that's what SH Park did. So Moria hit onto the green, has a birdie putt up coming, and now Brooke Henderson, 100 yards. A little bit coming off a little downhill lie.
When you make a pit stop in racing, though, you have like a whole pit crew of people to help you do it. I'm not so sure she had.
Hopefully,
a whole
she didn't
pit
need
crew of
much
people.
help.
No.
Wow.
Ariya Jutanugarn for a birdie at the 17th.
And she's overdue about this point.
Yep, right on the song. Nine under par and 1 to play. Their timing may be absolutely perfect with these threatening clouds.
No. Into hook, half.
How about this pair
I'm only
right here?
thinking it's control, but it takes the hill out of play.
David Jones, caddy for Sung Yoon Park. He's good friends, grew up with Ricky Elliott, caddy for Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, I'm liking that. Just control.
And David K told me, he said, you know, every time Brooks Koepka's won a major, Sung Yoon has won the next LPGA major. So Brooks just won the PGA, so look at it heavy on for Sung Yoon Park.
Well, regardless of that factoid, I think she'd be a favorite there no matter what.
It's surprising how she played on Sunday, though, at the Rico, isn't it?
It was. I don't think anybody saw that coming, but she did get into some trouble with those bunkers. She won't have those bunkers to deal with at Evian.
Leads it here by 1,
Oh,
9 under.
That's a 7-iron, guys. I think she was trying to flight it a little bit. It sort of came out high and right, not what she was envisioning. That's going to leave her a lot further from the hole than she would have liked.
9 under for her round, 13 under for the tournament. And she'll have 1 more birdie putt. How about our shot of the day? Well, we have lots to choose from. But with former number 1 Sung Yoon Park leading, it's another former top-ranked player, Yanni Sen. Could she really? Yanni Sen spins it in at 17 for an eagle 2, and it is our shot of the day. Cut line at the moment, by the way, is -3, and there's Yanni at the 9th, Tom.
Big putt this for Yanni Sen.
This isn't the kind of event where you think it's going to come back, the cut line.
No, it might even go forward.
Well
what a
done.
clutch putt.
It's going to be an afternoon of waiting, maybe even stretching into tomorrow morning. Yanni, 131st on the money list. Could do with a few cuts made as the year draws to a close. Let's go to the tee at the 18th.
And current world number 1, Ariya Jutanugarn on the tee at this par 4.
As the light raindrops just begin to fall, as Doppler Tom Abbott had predicted. It turns into a birdie hole with a good tee shot here, but you need to get the fairway.
It's a good one there for Ariya. Another one of those little low bullet fairway woods.
And I think a good catch by you after pulling it left at 13. Beauty at 16 and a great one here at 18.
Fly. Go. Go. Come down. Just come down. Thank you.
Go ahead, folks. It's not that.
Again.
At the 18th, Sung Hyun Park, our leader for birdie.
For her 10th birdie today. Tough putt left to right.
Rain beginning to fall.
Oh, this needs to slow down.
And to use one of your best sayings, Kay, there's a bit of pizza left in that box.
That's
right. Lunchtime. To the 9th.
Salas for a birdie to tie the lead. Yes, well done. And a great couple of days golf, you have to say. Tough to follow up a 62 with another low round in the 60s, but 69 will do. And she is tied for the lead. Maybe have the lead on her own. Time to get under the umbrella and to cover Lizette.
At 18, Brooke Henderson for birdie.
Similar putt to what Park had. I'm sure she learned about the speed. And yeah, got the speed right. Just needed to allow a little more break.
How heavy is it coming down, Kay?
Pretty heavily right now. It's just come upon us very quickly. And this group's got to be very happy that they're finishing.
I'll say. About 5 feet left for par for Sung Hyun Park. She made one of similar length at 16 for par.
Schubert for a birdie at 17. And we've seen her make a few birdies, haven't we, this week? But unfortunately, there's been some bad holes from what we haven't seen. So
it's been a bit inconsistent with the putter, you know, in terms of speed. Like a couple of them, those putts, the ones that she's missed, it's looked a little bit jabby and a bit quick.
Not going to be a check cashed in her first week as a professional, I'm afraid, but it's a nice little warm-up for next week where she's really under pressure at the Q School. Got to get through the first stage. Shouldn't have a problem. If you look at her record and the quality of play, she should easily make it through, but you never quite know when it comes to the qualifying tournament. Let's go to 18.
All right, the jacket is on for Sung Hyun Park with the rain falling. She's got, I said 5 feet. This is maybe 6 feet.
Yeah, at least. And she just watched Moria miss her birdie putt on a similar line low to the right. So sometimes, Karen, that can help you. Sometimes it makes you almost do the opposite and perhaps miss the putt on the left. I think from this angle it's going to ease to the right, but I would recommend hitting it firmly inside left.
I like the inside left, and also because the greens now have got that little bit extra water on them, and so that will also take some of the break out.
For a 63.
Boom. Wow. She is impressive when she is on, isn't she?
Par saves at 16 and 18. It's her low round of the season, and she's tied for the lead.
I'll hit and I'll pass this on to you if you want.
We're all staying in here. I'm gonna let you go on when you're done with this.
Welcome to Friday of the IWIT Championship. First on the tee for the 221 pairing is Jessica Corda from Florida.
At the 18th, Jerry, not sure they'd be racing right now, but they are still playing golf.
Yes, they are. A lot of rain coming down. That was a gap wedge from 109 for area and very substandard for her.
Yeah, she knew it. She was not happy. And that's a pretty sizable divot she's just taken out of the ground there.
Lexi-esque.
A few more of those and I can returf my yard.
The afternoon wave is just getting started. Mariah Stackhouse at the 11th. Terrific summer continues for her. Missed the cut at the Rico Women's British Open. Said she really didn't feel too badly about her game. Maybe didn't hit some great tee shots, but said no worries here. Reset, and she's playing well. 63 for Sung-Hyun Park. Lizette Salas had a 62 yesterday. Those are our two best rounds so far this week. It is time now for our refreshing round of the day, brought to you by Samdesu. And it is Sung-Hyun Park, number one in the world briefly last year. This was at the par 3 12th.
Loved how she held the follow through of her putt. Always a good sign.
That was her third straight birdie. Then par at 13, birdies at 14, there at 15, and then missed the fairway at 17, but no worries.
No, ball above her feet, but she holds on tight with her left hand to keep the club moving through the ball squarely and produces that tremendous shot.
The birdie there, 9 birdies, no bogeys, couple of nice par saves at 16 and 18. Our refreshing round of the day brought to you by Samdesu. Sung-Hyun Park looking for a third victory of the season. Lizette Salas looking for a second victory of her career. They're tied for the lead as the afternoon wave gets going here in Indianapolis. Today's coverage is brought to you by Group 1001. Volvic Vivid, the world's best-selling matte finish golf balls. And by Volunteers of America, helping America's most vulnerable.
Thanks for coming on.
At the 18th, the rain coming straight down and hard area Jatanagarn for birdie.
It's actually coming down sideways and hard, Grant. This one turning right over a slope, down a hill, tough to judge, especially with the greens a little bit slower now, all the moisture on them.
One thing I can guarantee you is that she would much rather have put that to within tapping range so she doesn't have to think about another putt in these weather conditions.
Look out. Can't bear to watch.
He's loving it.
It's like water off a duck's back. Sung-Hyun Park brushed in a par putt. Area will have one in a moment. Lindbergh for birdie.
This one difficult to judge as well. Downhill at the end. Just doing anything she can to leave it up there close and then get under an umbrella.
So Area is going to let par one. Isn't this great? Remember Area clapping for Kyoju Kim and her fellow competitors at the U.S. Women's Open? Solid for Lindbergh. Hustle. Get dry. And now Area for her par.
It's simply no fun out here right now.
No.
Big bunker left of 18 is quickly turning into a lake as well.
I've got water off a duck's back. Little 7 under par 65. Area Jatanagarn sure can make it look easy. There were times she was finishing her shots with one hand on the club, and yet the world #1. Look at Jerry Foltz. How you doing, Jerry?
Looks like my pants are tie-dyed now. And the shoes, which I once thought were waterproof, are not.
In here, by the way, it's dry for the moment. Boy, look at it. It's just
yeah, it's brutal.
A deluge.
It is, and Jerry is right that the bunker that's behind us on the ground has turned into a water hazard.
Yesterday, the afternoon wave had to deal with about an hour plus, hour 17 weather delay in the afternoon wave. Now today is going to have to deal with that.
Well, I mean, they haven't called play yet. Everybody's still out there trying to play. But if it continues to rain this hard, where the holes are located in some bowls on these greens, they're going to quickly go underwater because they've had a lot of rain, certainly these last couple of days. Probably over the course of these few days, it's probably been at least an inch of rain. And really, as we get a really good view of that bunker on 18, it won't be long before the course does go under par, and they will have to stop play because of that. We haven't heard any lightning yet, so.
This guy's okay. Doesn't think the heavy stuff's coming down for a while yet. We're going to find some dry place to hunker down this afternoon, but as you look at this leaderboard, it is interesting, isn't it? Lizette Salas has played great golf over the last year or so, especially beginning last August. She's racking up top 10s, but now Sung Hyun Park with that 63. She's got a chance to join Area Jatanagarn with a third win this year.
Well, and she's a dangerous player too. I think about where she's had those wins. You know, you think about Dallas, which was weather delayed on a very soggy golf course. The KPMG Women's PGA Championship also had a lot of rain on the early stages of the week, and the course was fairly wet there too. So she likes these conditions, and she has a very dangerous combination going on. She's long, she's straight, and she's making putts.
Co-Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in 2017, Sung Hyun Park, a 63, tied with Lizette Salas for the lead. The afternoon wave just getting started, so Angel Yin, for example, Lydia Ko, Lexi Thompson, they'll have some work to do in some adverse conditions if they're going to work their way up the leaderboard. Just 2 more full field events after this week, so players like Paula Rito, way down on the money list, have an opportunity this weekend to make some headway. Golf course is playing nearly 2 strokes under par. And, the race to the checkered flag here this weekend continues. We've got coverage tomorrow. Note the later starting time than these first couple of days. 5 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be with you from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For our entire team, Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz, Kay Cockrell, Karen Stupples, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching in the wet weather here with us in Indianapolis. And thanks for watching the LPGA Tour on Golf Channel. Enjoy the golf the rest of the day here on Golf Channel. We'll see you tomorrow.